Chapter 4840. Hearing this voice that he had not heard for many years, Wolf Dao retreated again with fear in his eyes. Those who had not experienced that era would never know how powerful Ji Shan was back then. The first person's realm? That's right. But where did this realm come from? It came from a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. The battle in the distance stopped again, and the faces of all the monsters and demons changed greatly. The person who stood in front of the saber was an existence that deterred an era. Zichen's consciousness gradually returned. After his vision became clear, he saw the strong man. At this time, the strong man was also looking at him, as if he wanted to see through him. The surroundings were very quiet, and even the sound of the wind had disappeared. I sensed the same aura. It seems that it's you. Ji Shan looked at Zichen, nodded and said, "Not bad." He held the flowing saber in his hand. In an instant, the flowing saber was flowing with brilliance. Scenes appeared in front of Ji Shan. In those scenes, Zichen saw the former King Ji Dun, the King of Venerables, and himself. It seemed that the flowing saber had the function of memory, and at this moment, it was playing back the memories for Ji Shan. Zichen stood up. He guessed the identity of the other party, and his face was full of surprise. The first person had come back to life. There was no aura fluctuation. He just stood there, but it was as if he was a world of his own. The other monsters were all silent. Even those who were familiar with Ji Shan did not greet this old friend. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. A moment later, all the scenes disappeared. Ji Shan looked at Zichen again and said with more satisfaction, "Not bad, really not bad." Being praised by the first person twice in a row, Zichen was even more confused. Ji Shan did not explain, but turned around and looked at Wolf Dao. Wolf Dao had retreated far away. After Ji Shan turned his head, his real body appeared and said, "Everything is negotiable, everything is negotiable." Ji Shan did not speak, but his eyes gradually turned cold. "I know that you sealed us back then for our own good. This time, we came out to do something for the spiritual realm." Wolf Dao explained in a panic, "Perhaps our approach is a bit radical, but I can guarantee that we will change. We really will change. Don't be the only one saying this. Old Black, you say something too. Do you think we will change?" The big bear named Old Black didn't speak. It wasn't that he didn't want to say a few words at this time, but he didn't dare to. Ji Shan, who had walked through mountains of corpses and seas of blood to become number one, was definitely not a kind person. He had killed countless lives. The other existences kept their mouths shut. Ji Shan was too much of a threat to them. "Are you done?" Ji Shan spoke. His voice was calm, but in the ears of the Wolf Daoist, it sounded like a death sentence. "It's over." "No, no, it's not over yet." Lang Dao first nodded, then immediately shook his head, trying to think of an excuse. Ji Shan said, "But my time is limited. I can't listen to you. Maybe you will change, but I won't be able to see it. Kid, you've obtained the flowing broken blade. Now, I'll teach you the mountain chopping technique. Look carefully, you only have one chance." Hearing this voice, just as Zichen looked forward, he saw Ji Shan chopping down with the blade. This blade moved forward with an indomitable will, carrying an unparalleled will. A perfect blade arc appeared between heaven and earth, with Ji Shan as the beginning and Lang Dao as the end. Lang Dao roared, mobilizing the demonic aura to form a defense. In the face of death, he wouldn't accept his fate. He had guessed what kind of state Ji Shan was in, so he wanted to give it a try. As long as he could block this attack, there was still a chance to turn the situation around. Lang Dao guessed right, but unfortunately, he didn't have the ability to wait until then. The saber arc slashed down, instantly splitting the huge corpse into two. Blood rained down from the sky, and the two halves of Lang Dao's body fell to the ground. In Zichen's perception, Ji Shan's blade not only split the body, but also destroyed the soul. One blade kill. Peng. Peng. The body fell to the ground, shaking the earth, and countless smoke and dust flew up. Heaven and earth returned to silence again. Ji Shan turned his head to look at the others, only to see them retreating quickly, disappearing from sight in the blink of an eye. The 8-headed demon and the others didn't leave, but they didn't step forward either. Speaking of which, they knew Ji Shan, but they weren't very close. In fact, it was Ji Shan who captured and suppressed them. Ji Shan looked at Miao Miao, who stood in the air and bowed to Ji Shan. Then, he looked at Xue Shong. The blood-red cloak rippled, and a hazy woman appeared, also bowing to Ji Shan. Ji Shan nodded in response to the two women. Then, Ji Shan looked at Kai Yang, who cupped his fists at Ji Shan. There was a hint of surprise in Ji Shan's eyes. The 8-headed demon and the bone eagle didn't get any attention, but they weren't angry at all, because it wasn't necessarily a good thing to be stared at by Ji Shan. Ji Shan walked to Zi Chen and asked, "Did you see it clearly?" Zi Chen nodded. "I saw it clearly." Ji Shan smiled and handed the blade to Zi Chen with both hands. Seeing this, the eyes of all the demons present changed. Ji Shan handed the blade with both hands. What did this Zi Chen do? Zi Chen was also at a loss. "I'll leave the spiritual realm to you from now on." Ji Shan was entrusting him with the safety of the entire spiritual realm, not the blade. This existence who had left the spiritual realm for God knows how many years still cared about it. Zi Chen took it with both hands and nodded solemnly. He didn't just take the blade, but also a responsibility. "From now on, it truly belongs to you." Ji Shan said, "I've just taken a cursory look at you. Although I don't know much about you, I'm sure you'll be able to shoulder this heavy responsibility since you've come this far. The spiritual realm will return to heaven and earth. I'll wait for you in the immortal spell world." After saying this, Ji Shan's figure gradually dimmed and then disappeared. The others weren't surprised. Ji Shan was no longer in this world. It was just an incarnation that was once sealed in the flowing blade. It was reasonable for it to disappear now. Laro Hei and the others had guessed this, and that was why they'd immediately retreated because no one dared to guarantee exactly how many attacks this clone possessed. Just after Ji Shan's figure disappeared, Old Black and the others who had left before came back again. Kai Yang shouted in a deep voice, "Old Black, Wolf Dao is already dead. Are you still not giving up?" Old Black, who had turned into a big bear, laughed. "But this little guy is not dead yet. I think we can still fight again." The other existences immediately came forward and blocked Miao Miao and the others. It was still a one-on-one battle. However, where was Zi Chen's opponent? At this moment, a black light shot toward Zi Chen like an arrow. The opponent's speed was much faster than Wolf Dao. Zi Chen could only see a black light. When he saw it clearly, the black light was already close to him. Die. Chapter 48-41. Zi Chen was unable to dodge this light. He didn't even have time to think about it. It was too fast. Just as he could see it clearly, it was already close to him. Obviously, this was a killing move prepared by the black demons. They wanted to kill Zi Chen in one strike just in case. Boom. A huge tremor. Zi Chen, who did not even have time to react, was pushed back several steps by a force. Countless terrifying ripples surrounded him. They were like real attacks that cut through space, leaving black marks in the surroundings. These attacks that could cut through space only surged around Zi Chen. It was as if there was an invisible force that shrouded his body and protected him. Zi Chen retreated again and again. When he was 10 steps away, he finally stabilized himself. There were no wounds on his body, and he only retreated 10 steps instead of being knocked out of the sky. This was another miracle. Of course, there was a reason for this miracle. In front of Zi Chen stood a demon that was more than 100 feet tall. Its body stood there like an iron tower, blocking the sneak attack for Zi Chen. In front of this demon was a black cheetah. It was only a few dozen feet tall when it launched its strongest attack. "Cheong-chi, it's you." The black cheetah made a surprised sound. The demon standing in front of Zi Chen replied, "Who else? How could it be you?" The black cheetah was in disbelief. "Why didn't you appear earlier?" Cheong-chi's figure appeared and turned into a lazy middle-aged man in a loose robe. He picked his ears and said, "Of course, a key person has to appear at the crucial moment. We've been rivals for so many years. I knew you were cunning, so of course I had to hold back." Cheong-chi had not appeared in the Tianwu world since the beginning, so he had only followed them secretly this time. He was good at hiding, so no one else could sense him. Perhaps Ji Shan had sensed him before he disappeared, but he did not say anything. Of course, this was not part of Zi Chen's plan. After coming to the spiritual world, Cheong-chi found that there were only a few demons outside the Tianwu world, so it did not appear. It was mainly because it was lazy. Zi Chen had taken this opportunity to make the other party go into hiding. He never thought that it would actually play a critical role today. In fact, Cheong-chi had already prepared to launch a sneak attack on Wolf Wei. However, the attack was too sudden. If he hadn't reacted in time, Cheong-chi might have been cut in half like Long River. Cheong-chi waved his hand at Black Panther, who had a cold look in his eyes, and said, "Who are you trying to scare with this look?" The Black Panther's figure transformed into a middle-aged man wearing a black robe. Seeing this scene, Cheong-chi was amused. "The others are all old men, but you're still young. No wonder you chose to launch a sneak attack. It turns out that you've only grown a little and haven't grown up." Seeing this, Scarlet Ape and the others also transformed into their human forms. Meow Meow said, "How about you guys? Do you still want to fight? Or is there an old fart among you?" Blackie's eyes flickered. Meow Meow's beautiful face suddenly turned frosty. "You're just a stupid bear. How dare you try to play tricks with others? Don't you think it's funny? Let me tell you, this time my young master is seriously injured and lost a magic robe treasure. This is already the most benevolent thing I can do for you. Ji Shan didn't kill you all back then, so don't go too far. Otherwise, Meow Meow, will kill all of your people if I get angry. Do you believe me?" Blackie looked at Meow Meow and shouted, "Meow Meow, what do you mean?" Meow Meow mocked, "Can't you see? Even if my young master isn't here, we're not on the same side as you. If we were, we wouldn't have left with Ji Shan back then. To put it bluntly, we're only willing to negotiate with you if my young master is here. If my young master dies, not only will we not agree to your conditions, we might even completely exterminate your people." Blackie and the others transformed into their human forms again. At this point, there was no room for reconciliation between the two sides. As for fighting, there was no point in continuing. This was because they didn't have the confidence to kill Meow Meow and the others. At most, they would kill Zi Chen, but what was the use? Meow Meow alone had the ability to kill all of their people. Back then, the fox race was able to rise and become an existence on equal footing with them because of Meow Meow's strength. Blackie, who had transformed into a human, said angrily, "So, what did you mean by that? Are you going to use our people as sparring partners for this kid? We can't be called sparring partners, but some people are unconvinced and want to see my young master's strength. Of course we'll let them see it." Meow Meow descended from the sky and smiled for the first time. "How is it? My young master is strong, right?" Blackie snorted coldly. Zi Chen walked forward, and Cheong-chi followed beside Zi Chen. Black Panther, who had transformed into a human, glared at Cheong-chi, and then had to follow. At this point, the battle couldn't go on, and no one was prepared to fight. Now, they sat down and discussed about the spiritual realm. For Blackie and the others, other than the loss of Wolf Path, it wasn't that they didn't gain anything. At least, they knew that Ji Shan had completely left the Saint Spirit realm, which was the only thing they were afraid of. Otherwise, how could they bear to continue staying here when the entrance was open? Zi Chen came forward and said directly, "I want to take away Wolf Path's corpse. No, it has to be returned to the wolf race. They lost too much this time." Blackie refused without hesitation. "It brought this upon itself, didn't it?" Zi Chen smiled faintly and said, "Therefore, its corpse belongs to me." "No. If we give the corpse to you, how can we explain it to the wolf race?" Another old man refused decisively. As the vanguard, the wolf race had indeed lost a lot. Not to mention the deaths of several demons, even Wolfpath was dead. In the future, the wolf race was destined to decline or even decline. Zi Chen looked at the others and saw their determined eyes, so he said, "All right, the two parts of the river are mine." Ji Shan's slash had directly cut the river into two parts, so it could be considered useless. "That's not a problem. Blackie nodded in agreement. Compared to Wolf Path's corpse, a broken weapon was meaningless. After nodding, everyone, including Blackie, glanced at Shueshong. Shueshong no longer concealed herself and said after revealing herself, "Thank you, young master." With that, she put away the 2 parts of the river. She could condense them into her blood river, which would increase its power. Zichen continued, "All right, let's discuss some issues about the spiritual realm." Blackie said directly, "We monster race have many people, so we want half of the spiritual realm." Zichen said, "No matter how many people you have, can you compare to the spirit race?" Chapter 48-42. This important decision, which concerned the safety of the spiritual realm, was negotiated in the wilderness. The process was not smooth, but because the 2 sides were no longer fighting, they could only bargain back and forth. Zichen did not have high requirements for the Yarrow race. First, the demons were not allowed to devour planets. Otherwise, they would die if they found one, and if they found 2, they would die. Originally, Zichen did not have the strength and confidence to do so. However, with Miao Miao and the others beside him, he was full of confidence. Zichen's meaning was clear. After the Yarrow race entered the Saint Spirit realm, they could also fight. After all, there were still disputes between the spirit race, but on the condition that they could not use their realms to suppress them. Especially now, there were not many demons in the spirit race, so at most, it would be a battle between sacred venerables. If the sacred venerables won because of their benefits, the spirit race would have nothing to say. However, if the sacred venerables lost and a demon wanted to kill them, then sorry, the demon had to die. As for the territory, the Yarrow race could freely search for it. Zichen did not have many requirements, but he could not interfere with the spirit race's normal life. The Yarrow race agreed to these questions, but the most controversial one was the last one. Within 1,000 years, the demons were not allowed to fight for resources. The Yarrow race's biggest reliance was the demons. Moreover, the spiritual realm's laws had just been restored, so there were bound to be many opportunities that were previously sealed. This was a great opportunity for them to gain contribution points. How could they miss it? After all, the main reason they invaded the spiritual realm was to fight for the demons' resources that were about to appear, so that their races could become stronger. On this point, Zichen was absolutely insistent. Because if the demons were to fight, the spirit race would not have a chance to develop. Therefore, after many rounds of arguments, both sides finally took a step back and agreed on a conclusion. Once such a place appeared, the spirit race and the Yarrow race could send the same number of demons to explore. Zichen agreed. Because such resources would take some time to appear, and for the spiritual realm, after a short period of peace, many people would be able to break through. Finally, after everything was settled, everyone left the demon realm. After returning to the Saint Spirit realm, Zichen asked Miao Miao to help him announce the terms of the negotiation. One of the terms was that if the demon race violated the agreement, they could go to the Tianwu world to inform them. Or, they could ask others to help pass the message. Zichen would definitely take care of this matter. Miao Miao used her demonic means to spread the news to every corner of the spiritual realm. When all the spirit race heard this, they cheered loudly. The crisis of the demon race was finally resolved. Many people cried tears of joy. Unlike the invasions of gods and demons, which gave people a certain amount of buffer time, these invading demons would swallow the world in one gulp. Countless lives would not be able to escape in time. Compared to the destruction caused by the demon invasion, the destruction caused by the gods and demons who had been here for many years was nothing. Not only did the spirit race members hear Miao Miao's words, but the gods and demons who had been driven to the entrance also heard her. For a moment, their feelings were very complicated. Could it be that the demon race was going to invade just like that, and they were going to leave? As for another invasion, they would not think about it. Zichen could even deal with the demon race, let alone them. Just as the upper echelons of the gods and demons were worrying, someone suddenly stood up and said that they could negotiate with Zichen to fight for a place for the demon race to live. This person was Mo Yijan. Zichen was now at the peak of his power. Who would dare to make trouble for him at this time? Therefore, after Mo Yijan's suggestion, they immediately agreed. In any case, They did not have to go. As for the rumors of Zichen and Mo Yijan colluding, no one mentioned them anymore. Although the upper echelons agreed to this matter, who would go with them to negotiate was another problem. Zichen could reach an agreement with the demon race because the demon race was strong enough that they could not be stopped. Therefore, both sides had bargaining chips. But the demon race was different. They were already the defeated side. They did not immediately leave, which affected the interests of the spirit race. There was no advantage for them to negotiate. If they angered Zichen, they would lose their lives. Moreover, the demon race did not have as many life-saving methods as the spirit race. They only had one life. Therefore, there was always a debate about who to choose. In the end, Mo Yijan spoke again and said that he would go alone. If he had to add one more person, it would be him bringing his wife along. Many of the demons were very moved by this, and they naturally agreed. Seeing the two of them leave, a saint venerable of the demon race said, "You're just going to watch your daughter go to Zichen like this? You don't feel bad if Mo Yijan dies, but what if your daughter dies too?" Mo Wuda looked at the two of them leaving and sighed, "For the survival of the demon world, I can only sacrifice my family to protect everyone." The saint venerable beside him sneered. Clearly, he did not believe him. Actually, Mo Wuda knew very well what Mo Yijan's dream was. Therefore, this time, not only did he not stop him, he even tried his best to matchmake them. Even when Mo Yijan suggested that he bring his daughter to negotiate with Zichen, he agreed. Because Mo Yijan always had a beautiful dream in his heart, or rather, a grand dream. He had always been working hard for this dream. And this time, he was close to success. Although only the two of them went, there was still a group of demons secretly protecting the two of them. At the very least, they could not let the two of them die prematurely before reaching Zichen. Mo Yijan pulled Mo Yian's hand and flew towards Zichen's world. Looking at the man beside her, Mo Yian's face revealed a blissful smile. Back then, everyone said that the two of them got together because of benefits. However, only she knew that this was not the case. Mo Yijan was very good to her. This time, it was hard to say whether she would live or die. However, she still came without hesitation. Even if she died, she would die together with him. Feeling the sweat on Mo Yian's palm, Mo Yijan said, "Don't be nervous. Don't worry, it'll be fine." Mo Yian nodded lightly, "With you by my side, I'm not afraid." Mo Yijan smiled and said, "Haven't you seen Zichen? He doesn't eat people. He doesn't eat people, but he's even scarier than demons." Looking at the four races, who was not afraid of Zichen if they knew of Zichen's existence? Looking at the Tianwu world in front of them, Mo Yijan said, "Don't worry, this time, what are we?" Mo Yian tilted her head and looked at him. "We're officially visiting an old friend." Mo Yi smiled. She smiled very happily. Chapter 48-43. The teleportation channel to the outside world of Zichen had not been completely opened, so Mo Yijan could not enter through it. She could only stand outside of Zichen's world. Mo Yijan of the devil race requests an audience. A voice entered Zichen's Tianwu world. It was mighty and attracted a lot of attention. Those who survived the great battle naturally knew about Mo Yijan. That was the leader of the devil race, a guy who deserved to die but didn't die in the end. Mo Yiyang held Mo Yijan's arm and was very nervous. Mo Yijan gently patted the back of her hand to comfort her. In the Tianwu world, many people were clamoring to kill him. In this city, there were many holy venerables. Killing a mere Mo Yijan was nothing. At this moment, a voice sounded, "Please come in." It was Zichen's voice. A spatial door appeared above the world. Zichen did not come out. Mo Yijan pulled Mo Yiyang towards the spatial door. When they arrived in the Tianwu world, the two of them felt a cold killing intent. Of course, there were also some stunned gazes. No one would have thought that the leader of the devil race would actually bring a woman here. Was it his wife? Zichen walked out of the room, looked at Mo Yijan, and said, "You are a dignified devil. What are you doing in my world? I heard that Lord Zichen resolved the crisis of the demon race in the Saint Spirit world and reached an agreement with the demon race. I came here to discuss the matters of the gods and demons with Lord Zichen." Mo Yizhen directly explained the purpose of her visit. Many people despised her in their hearts. How could the defeated gods and demons compare to the demon race? Come in. Zichen turned and entered the room. Mo Yiyang felt Zichen's ordinary and even somewhat distant attitude and had a bad feeling in her heart. In front of so many people, Zichen shouldn't kill them, right? Was he going to humiliate the husband and wife and then let them leave? Mo Yizhen gently pinched the back of Mo Yiyang's hand to comfort her. Then, she descended. Many people had strange expressions because they found that Zichen had returned to his room. He didn't bring the two of them to the living room. This seemed to be a problem. Sister, this doesn't seem to be in line with the rules, right? Wang Xian looked at Su Mengyaro, who was beside her. Based on their understanding of Zichen would not be so rude, even if the person who came was an enemy. Su Mengyaro curled her lips slightly, which was a rare action. Perhaps we will have a conclusion soon. When Mo Yizhen arrived at Zichen's residence, Zichen was already welcoming her with a smile. After the couple entered, Zichen extended his arms and said, "Welcome." Mo Yi stepped forward and gave Zichen a bear hug. It seemed that Zichen really recognized him as a friend. Mo Yiyang, on the other hand, stood there and watched this scene in a daze. "Sister-in-law, welcome." Zichen let go of Mo Yishuang, then stepped forward and gently hugged Mo Yiyang. Mo Yiyang stood there motionlessly as if she had been petrified. Zichen could feel her stiff body. He smiled and said, "Sister-in-law, there's no need to be nervous. I'm not one of those man-eating demons." What's going on? Mo Yiyang was still puzzled. Although this demon did not eat humans, he killed without batting an eyelid. When did he become so gentle? Last time in the alternate world, he almost killed the two of them. Take a seat. We've known each other since he was still Liu Zhen. At that time, I used the alias Mo Chen in the demon realm and had some dealings with your husband. Zichen personally poured tea for the two of them. Don't be in a daze. Take a seat. Make yourself at home. Mo Yiyang sat down, but she was still nervous. Mo Yiyang had never mentioned this before. "I'm sorry for lying to you for so long." Mo Yiyang said guiltily, "Actually, I wasn't lucky enough to survive those few crises. It was Zichen who let me go on purpose." This was a shocking secret. Mo Yiyang immediately thought of the rumors from those years, rumors that she had never believed. "It's not that I didn't believe you, but I was afraid that you would be implicated. If we were exposed at that time, we wouldn't be able to live." In that era, Mo Yiyang did not have enough background and could barely protect himself. Once the news about Zichen spread, not only would he die, but he might also implicate Mo Yiyang's family. He was indebted to the Lord for recognizing his worth and even marrying his daughter to him. He could not implicate them. Mo Yiyang nodded understandingly. She could understand Mo Yiyang's feelings, but why did he say it now? Was he not worried that the secret would be exposed? Zichen guessed her doubts and said with a smile, "After today, everything will be meaningless." Zichen could resolve the crisis in the Saint Spirit realm. Even the demons were afraid of him. Obviously, he was the most powerful being in the Saint Spirit realm and had the most authority. Walking out of this room today, perhaps everyone would be happy to see Mo Yiyang and Zichen befriend each other. As for those rumors, they would not appear again. Even if they appeared again, Mo Yiyang's life would not be in danger. Instead, he would have contributed greatly. Therefore, Mo Yiyang's visit this time was just to meet his friends. As for talking about the god and demon realm, it was just a side trip. Zichen is my friend, and I don't have many friends. Zichen can be considered my family. I brought you here this time to meet my family. Mo Yiyang laughed, but this sentence made Mo Yiyang's eyes fill with tears. She knew how Mo Yiyang got up. It was not easy for a spirit race to become a leader with such an awkward identity among the demon realm. In the entire demon realm, only Liu Zhen could do it. No one knew what Mo Yiyang and Zichen talked about that day. In the end, Zichen walked out of the room and put his arm around Mo Yiyang's shoulder. At the same time, he told everyone that Mo Yiyang was Zichen's good brother. When this sentence came out, it caused a big uproar. Then, there were many voices of objection. Mo Yi Yang was the leader of the demon realm. Zi Chen was the hero of the spirit race. How could he be good brothers with great evil? However, there were also some spirit race people who clapped and cheered. Back then, when Mo Yi Yang led the invasion, he had indeed treated many spirit race people well. This was also the main reason why he and his team could escape successfully in the end. Zi Chen did not care about these words because it was meaningless. He could not make everyone satisfied and applaud. During the peace talks with the demon realm, there were many spirit race people who had lost their relatives. They cursed Zi Chen for being cowardly and not daring to fight with the demon realm. Now, Zi Chen was wholeheartedly thinking of breaking through to the demon realm. Only by breaking through would he have the absolute right to speak. In that tavern, Zi Chen had left enough crystals for the two old men to drink, so the two of them stayed in the tavern all day and looked at the world. It's time, right? The black-robed old man drank a bowl of wine. Chapter 48-44. The white-robed old man looked at the wine in his bowl and said, "But we have been drinking his wine for such a long time. We should owe him a favor. Since we have waited for so many years, a few more years won't hurt." The white-robed old man looked out the window. Moreover, this world has not really stabilized yet. There are still some abnormalities. Let's wait until everything has stabilized. All right. The black-robed old man nodded, and the two of them continued to drink. Zi Chen did not know that the conversation between the two of them had bought a lot of time for him and the Ling clan in the entire world. The Shun clan and the Mo clan had obtained the right to live in the spiritual realm, but there was a precondition. The teleportation channel had to be stabilized by the Shun clan and the Mo clan. Moreover, the Shun clan and the Mo clan would be completely open to the Ling clan. If the Ling clan wanted to go to these two realms to look for resources, they could also go through the teleportation channel. The Shun clan and the Mo clan were not allowed to stop them. At the same time, there was a more important message. The Ling clan living in the Shun clan and the Mo clan, or rather, the fake demons and fake gods, were not allowed to stop them if they wanted to come to the spiritual realm. As for how the two clans would develop in the spiritual realm, that was their own business. The spiritual realm was large enough, and there were countless ownerless planets. It would be easy to survive here. On the Mo clan's side, the matter of the Ling clan's return was completely handled by Mo Yijan. As for the Shun clan, who had not been in contact with Zi Chen, they also sent over a set of relevant personnel. Zi Chen did not even look at the information. He said to the Shun clan member, "Let Shun Hao handle this matter. Compared to the others in the Shun clan, I trust him more." Zi Chen had killed Shun Hao in the strange world, but he had always had a good impression of Shun Hao. At least that young man was not as cunning as old man Ge. The person received the order and bowed to Zi Chen before leaving. "Perhaps I should make a trip to the Mo clan?" Zi Chen had been to the Mo clan before and was very clear about the environment of the Ling clan. Mo Yijan had been working hard without anyone's support and finally had the ability to change this situation. Zi Chen also had invincible combat power. At the very least, no one would dare to plot against him in the Mo clan. "My lord, what's the point of going to the demon realm? Why don't we go to the demon realm?" Since the last time he went to the demon realm with Zi Chen, he saw everything that happened and admired Zi Chen more and more. Of course, this was just his mouth. As for whether he admired him in his heart, Zi Chen wasn't sure. Perhaps the other party was the same type of existence as the eight-headed demon. Once they had the ability one day, they would instantly betray them. During the last crisis, Zi Chen had given Scarlet Ape its freedom. That was why it could mobilize the Black Mountain Peak to fight. Of the 4 Black Mountains, Zi Chen had only released one. The Bone Eagle, the eight-headed beast, and the Cheong Chi were still under his control. Those 3 mountains were currently unusable for battle. After Mo Yijan and his wife returned, they were warmly welcomed by the devil race. Only after experiencing this battlefield did they realize how difficult it was to stay. In a situation where the demon race was at a complete disadvantage, he had managed to obtain a huge benefit for both the god race and the demon race from Zi Chen's hands. It had to be said that this was very impressive. Mo Yizhen had become the hero of both the god and devil races. On the day they returned, the husband and wife went to visit Mo Wuda. Mo Wuda nodded at Mo Yi and said, "You did well. There are no more obstacles from now on. Just do as you wish." "No more obstacles?" Mo Yizhen was in disbelief. Mo Wuda smiled. "You're now a saint venerate and have contributed greatly to the devil race. Don't underestimate yourself. Now that we're on the battlefield, we have a lot of authority. At the very least, it won't be a problem for us to deal with those old masters." Mo Yizhen had obtained benefits for the devil race, but there were still many problems in the devil race itself, especially regarding the spirit race. Therefore, there was bound to be chaos. However, compared to the war this time, it could only be considered internal chaos. It was much easier for a saint venerate to suppress it. Mo Wuda smiled. "This time, I've already obtained the greatest authority for you. Therefore, you have the absolute right to speak on this matter. As for the troops, if you don't have enough people, we can send you more from the battlefield. However, before that, you need to plan a plan for moving in. After all, this is a historical moment for the devil race." Mo Yizhen said, "Zichen doesn't really care about us, but the spirit race living in the devil realm. Because he's been to the devil realm, he knows what their lives are like. Therefore, if we want to truly integrate into the spirit realm, the first thing we need to do is to treat the spirit race as humans and give them a lot of freedom." Mo Yizhen had already considered this point. In order to perfect the rules of the devil realm, the 4 armies will still be maintained. However, the devil snake guards will need to be changed. After many years of suppression, the spirit race that rebelled were almost all killed. How could there be so many rebels? However, the devil snake guards' contributions keep increasing. This is a big problem. Unjust cases and indiscriminate killings of the innocent can be found everywhere. Therefore, after completely resolving the matter of the spirit race, I plan to bring the first batch of spirit race to the spirit realm. As long as we can pull them in, we will have a better chance of surviving here. Mo Wuda said, "The higher-ups have already agreed to let you take full responsibility for this matter. In other words, as long as the devil race can successfully stay in the spirit realm and have space to live in the future, nothing will happen to you even if you make a huge mistake in the devil realm." This sentence was very obvious. He wanted Mo Yizhen to let go and do what she wanted to do. Mo Yi was even more confident now. "I'll go with you," Mo Yiyang said. Mo Yizhen shook her head and refused. "I'll go by myself. This time, we'll encounter all kinds of dirty things. It's better not to dirty your eyes." This time, the devil race had lost. Many people had turned back to vent their anger on the spirit race. There were many dirty things that could happen. Mo Yiyang said that she was not afraid, but Mo Yizhen still insisted on not letting Mo Yiyang follow. She was a proud daughter of a generation and should not see such a scene. When they returned, Mo Yizhen brought her army. Mo Di and Mo Yang Dan's were followed. Other than that, Mo Yizhen actually saw Mo Zhengtian, which surprised her. One had to know that Mo Zhengtian had always been her immediate superior. However, this time, he was the highest manager. Seeing Mo Yizhen's stunned expression, Mo Zhengtian asked, "You don't welcome me?" "I don't dare. Since my lord is here, I naturally welcome you." Mo Yizhen hurriedly cupped her fists. Mo Zhengtian patted him on the shoulder and said, "You're underestimating yourself. This time, you're my lord. In order to follow you, other than our original friendship, I've also paid a price." Mo Di and Mo Yang Dan's were nodded at the same time. This might be the last huge contribution in the future of the devil race, so there were too many people who wanted to follow Mo Yizhen to earn contribution points. Even those who had been following Mo Yizhen still had to line up. Chapter 48-45. After Mo Yizhen brought the army back to the demon race, he immediately sent out his trusted subordinates to take over the various cities' fighting forces. When taking over the strongest fighting forces, it was inevitable that there would be some conflicts with the local forces. Mo Yizhen had already issued orders to deal with this problem. Those who disobeyed were to be killed without mercy. Judging from the subordinates Mo Yizhen had sent out, they were usually 1 or 2 cultivation realms higher than the local forces and were relatively easy to suppress. After taking over, he issued a series of orders. These orders were all targeted at the spirit race. The first order was that from now on, the demon race was not allowed to attack the spirit race for no reason. At the same time, he began to perfect the demon race's laws. Mo Yijan was all too familiar with this. These laws that needed to be changed had appeared in his mind for a long time. Of course, it was also targeted at how to treat the spirit race well. Next, Mo Yijan set up a separate department to deal with the disputes between the spirit race and the demon race. He would not be biased in any way. And it was almost 100% the demons who were responsible for this pitting situation. In the past, this kind of thing would naturally be left unsettled. However, after a series of orders were issued, these people would be dealt with severely. No one knew what was going on. After a series of orders were issued, not only were the demon race stunned, but even the spirit race was dumbfounded. Some people even guessed that this was a conspiracy. Not long after, Mo Yijan asked to see Daoist Ling in the Jing residence. Many years had passed, and the famous Jing residence had long been abandoned. The scene from back then seemed to be yesterday in Mo Yijan's mind. Mo Yijan stood there, thinking back to the past. This was the place where he had completely changed. Strictly speaking, Zi Chen was his lucky star. "What business do you have with me?" A cold voice sounded. "Do you want to catch us all in one fell swoop?" The old blind man had come. Compared to back then, he had become even older. Mo Yijan turned to look at him. He had been a little absent-minded earlier and hadn't noticed the other party. "Hiding like an old turtle, you still haven't broken through." The old blind man said, "You called me here to talk about this? Or do you plan to use the lives of the spirit race in exchange for an even greater contribution, Holy Sovereign Mo Yijan?" Facing the old blind man's ridicule, Mo Yi chuckled. "I didn't expect you to be so mean after so many years. It's better to be mean than to kill." The old blind man coldly snorted. Mo Yi was not angry. Instead, she smiled and said, "I wonder what you think of the recent rules of the demon clan? Who knows what you guys are up to?" Seeing how uncooperative old blind was, Mo Yijan didn't bother asking for a rebuff and went straight to the point. "This time, I've called you here to ask if you're willing to bring our people to live in the spirit realm." The old blind man looked at Mo Yi and trembled, as if he wanted to see something from his face. It was just that he couldn't see things clearly, so naturally, he couldn't see anything. Mo Yi said with a trembling voice, "If you are willing, I can arrange a route for you to leave." Old blind shook his head. Mo Yi said with a trembling voice, "Your answer surprised me. I thought you would be very happy to hear this news. Can't go back for a long time." Old blind's expression turned dejected. Having lived in such a place, how could he not wish to return? But how could that strange world welcome them? "If you're worried that the spirit realm won't accept you, then you can rest assured. The spirit realm is no longer what it used to be. It won't care about this at all." Mo Yijan said with a trembling voice, "If you're worried that I'm playing tricks, then you don't have to. Do you still remember Mo Chen? His real name is Zi Chen. In the current spirit realm, he has the final say." Old blind's expression changed. Of course, he had a deep impression of that young man. If it weren't for him, they would have died long ago. The main reason why the gods and demons failed to invade the spirit realm was because of Zi Chen, but we didn't completely retreat. After discussing with Zi Chen, he was willing to give the demon clan a place to live. He only put forward one condition, and that is to treat the spirit race of the demon realm well. This series of actions against the spirit race is all true. Now and in the future, it will be carried out very well. You don't have to be surprised or have any doubts. The spirit realm has ushered in a great era. Many of the demons who went there have broken through. Even though many have died in battle, the number of Saint Venerables is still much higher than before. If we want to deal with you, we can find you even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground. Old blind was still silent, but his expression changed greatly. Not only can you go back, but we will also open a passage between the 2 realms. At that time, the spirit race can also come to the demon realm. Mo Yijan sighed and said, "The reason why the spirit race doesn't reject you is mainly because of Zi Chen. Now, He is the #1 saint venerable in the world. Once he reaches the demon realm in the future, he will be even more amazing. Moreover, as long as he is alive, the spirit realm will not be in chaos. We won't be afraid of the gods and demons invading again, and the gods and demons won't dare to invade again. Therefore, the spiriters realm won't care how many of you are real spiriters, or how many of you are spies who are here to collect information. This time, I came back from the spirit realm to deal with this matter. The problems you see with the spirit race are all problems I need to solve. However, I think that you can leave now and go to the spirit realm first. No matter what, you are still enemies of the demon race. Even if some laws have been changed, it is an indisputable fact that you are going against the demon race. So, taking everyone and leaving to live in the spirit realm is the best choice for you. Old Blind and Mo Yizhen's ideals were different, so they walked different paths. But today, it seemed that Mo Yizhen was right. Old Blind let out a long sigh. Asterisk 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 Demon City, Lian family. A young man stood outside the gate of the Lian family's residence. He looked at the energetic guards. The guards noticed the young man, and one of them said, "Young man, this is a private residence." The young man smiled and said, "I'm here to look for Miss Lian Qing. Can you help me pass on the message?" Miss Lian Qing? The guards were stunned when they heard this. They didn't seem to know this person in the family. Then what about Lian Liju? You can also look for Madame Lian. The young man continued. Hearing this, the guards' expressions changed. You're talking about the previous patriarch? You're looking for our current patriarch? One of the old guards said in disbelief. Could it be that you're the lord who protected our Lian family? The young man nodded. You can say that. Lord, please wait a moment. We'll go and invite the patriarch. The guards were very excited. They quickly ran into the family, not leaving a single person behind. Then, loud shouts could be heard from the clan. Miss Lian from back then has become the patriarch. Chapter 48-46. In Demon City, the Lian family had a tradition that there must be an elder among the guards. They had a very high status in the family. No one knew why, only the old soldiers knew that their main duty was to wait. Wait for someone who might never appear. It was said that when the Lian family was in danger, the old madam prayed to him and saved the Lian family. Generation after generation, the old soldiers changed many times, but that person never appeared. Who would have thought that he would appear today? Just as the guard mentioned Lian Qing and Lian Lijue, the old soldier finally reacted. Zichen did not know about this. In just a moment, Lian Qing appeared in front of him. Compared to the past, she was much more mature. Perhaps it was because she came in a hurry, but her cheeks were red and her breathing was rapid. Young master, you're here. Lian Qing stuttered a bit when she spoke, which made the surrounding guards very surprised. One had to know that this patriarch had a swift and decisive style. When did she show such a girly demeanor? This made more people curious about the identity of this young man. Long time no see, I just happened to pass by here, so I came here to take a look. Zichen nodded with a smile. I didn't expect you to become the family head, congratulations. No, I'm just the acting family head, I'm not married. Lian Qing quickly explained. This made the expressions of the guards even more strange. Master, Lian Lijue and his wife greet you. At this time, Lian Lijue and his wife also heard the news and came over. Lian Lijue immediately bowed to Zichen. The old housekeeper had already left, and the other party was a hidden saint venerable. Zichen quickly helped him up, and Lian Lijue quickly said, Master, please come in. Then, he immediately shouted, Silly girl, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and let the servants prepare the banquet. I want the best banquet in the entire Demon City. Lian Qing finally reacted. Leaving the guests outside was already neglecting them. The three of them entered the Lian family's mansion, and the whole mansion was bustling with activity. Then, whispers could be heard. Although many years had passed, the Lian family's incident was still being talked about. It was said that it was the turning point of the Lian family in Demon City. The process was extremely dangerous, But in the end, the Lian family still managed to rise up and become the #1 power in the demon city. However, the Lian clan did not bully others. Instead, they took special care of some of the spirit race people and recruited quite a few of them. Even the city lord's mansion was very wary of the Lian family. After arriving at the hall and taking a seat, Lian Qing personally poured tea for Zi Chen. The blush on her face never faded. Lian Lijue sighed and said, "Ever since we parted that day, there has been no news of Daren. During this time, I also went out to look for Milord, but there was no news." When Zi Chen was in the Lian family, he used his real name. After going out, he changed his name to Mo Chen. At that time, he made the devil race suffer a lot. Naturally, this name was suppressed by the higher-ups. It was not easy for Lian Lijue to find out his whereabouts. After pouring the tea, Lian Qing stood beside Madame Lian and looked at Zi Chen. It was difficult for her to calm down. Zi Chen smiled apologetically and said, "Back then, I left the demon world because of some matters. I just returned this time." Lian Lijue's expression changed slightly. He guessed that Zi Chen had gone to the spirit world. The devil race's invasion of the spirit world was a huge matter. However, they did not expect to return in defeat. Recently, the news had spread like wildfire. "It's good that Milord is fine, it's good that you are fine." Lian Lijue knew that Zi Chen was of the devil race. However, he naturally went to the spirit world to fight. Therefore, it was unavoidably awkward to continue talking about this topic. He changed the topic and said, "Milord, I have collected a lot of good wine these years. I have also waited for Milord for many years. Since Milord is here today, I hope you can have a taste. Then I'll have to trouble you." "Milord, what are you saying? You are our Lian clan's great benefactor. No matter how many years have passed, we will never forget such a great favor. Back then, it was nothing. It's not worth mentioning." At this time, a voice came from the door, reporting to Master, "Someone from the City Lord's mansion has come to visit." "Why is someone from the City Lord's mansion here?" Lian Lijue turned around and asked, "Who is it?" "It's the City Lord's newly arrived Demon Wu Mountain Lord." "Demon Wu Mountain? He came personally?" "Yes." Hearing the steward's words, Lian Lijue frowned. This Demon Wu Mountain Lord had only recently arrived. It was said that he had a lot of power. On the day of his arrival, he directly removed the City Lord's position and all his military authority. Although the other party had issued many decrees that were beneficial to the spirit race, Lian Lijue could not figure out the other party's intentions. Moreover, he had a good impression of the former City Lord. Although there had always been a private rumor that the former City Lord was afraid of the Lian clan, in reality, only Lian Lijue and a few members of the Lian clan knew that the City Lord had helped them a lot and had always maintained a good relationship with the Lian clan. Just as Lian Lijue was hesitating whether to meet the new Demon City Lord at this time, a noisy noise suddenly came from outside. Lian Lijue immediately got up and was about to walk outside. At this time, a voice came from outside the door, "The new City Lord of the Demon City, Demon Wu Mountain Lord, greets Lord Zi Chen." Lian Lijue stopped and turned to look at Zi Chen with some confusion. Lian Qing and Madame Lian also looked at Zi Chen. This new Demon City Lord was one of Zi Chen's men? The door opened and Zi Chen looked at the Demon City Lord outside. "How did you know I was here?" Demon Wu Mountain cupped his fists and said, in response to Lord's question, "This lowly one once saw Lord Zi Chen from afar when I was under Lord Mo Yizhen's command." "So it's Mo Yizhen." Zi Chen said indifferently, "It seems that he already expected me to come here. Since you are the City Lord here, you should have gained Mo Yizhen's trust, right?" "That's because of Lord's nurturing." Demon Wu Mountain said respectfully, "Before I came here, Lord told me that if I saw Lord Zi Chen, I was to tell Lord that he would definitely follow the agreement and treat all the spirit race in this world well. Lord can rest assured." Zi Chen nodded and said, "Tell Mo Yizhen that I am relieved. When I have time, I will go look for him." "Yes, this lowly one will take his leave." Demon Wu Mountain immediately left with his men. During this time, neither Demon Wu Mountain nor the few people he brought dared to raise their heads and look at Zi Chen. Hearing this conversation, Lian Lijue and the others were almost petrified. Who was Mo Yizhen? He was a legend in the demon world. He rose to power as a spirit race member and finally became a sacred venerate. It was said that he was the vanguard in the invasion of the spirit race and had made great contributions to the demon race. Although Lian Lijue did not have a good impression of this person, he had to admit that the other party was really amazing to be able to reach this step as a spirit race member. And Lord Zichen actually had dealings with such a big shot. And from Demon Wu Mountain's words, it seemed that Mo Yizhen was very afraid of Lord Zichen. Chapter 48-47. Zichen told Lian Lijue about what had happened back then, including the fact that the steward was a holy venerate. Lian Qing and Madame Lian were also very surprised. They obviously did not expect the truth to be like this. It was no wonder that the steward's first impressions were the strongest back then. He had given them one step after another, forcing Zichen to take action for the Lian clan. So he was a holy venerate. He already knew the truth. At this point, even Lian Lijue's last grudge was gone. Because this lord was not from the demon race, but the spirit race, he went to the spirit realm to go home. Later on, he went to other cities to search for a long time, but there was no news. This was very normal. Zichen said, "Actually, Mo Yizhen is a good person. I guess that the current city lord should have a good relationship with the Lian family." Lian Lijue nodded and told him some things about the city lord. The city lord agreed to almost all of the Lian family's requests. Zichen said again, "If I haven't guessed it, that city lord should be Mo Yizhen's man." Ah! Lian Lijue was shocked. He had always guessed that the benefactor who had helped them all these years might be because of Zichen. He did not expect it to be Mo Yizhen, who had a bad reputation in the spirit race. Zichen said, "Back then, not long after I left the demon city, I met Mo Yizhen. He was also wholeheartedly for the spirit race, but he walked on a different path. The various orders that have been issued today are the result of Mo Yizhen's hard work. I rarely admire people, and Mo Yizhen is one of them." Zichen asked himself, if it was him, he might not be able to do what Mo Yizhen did. Perhaps halfway through, he would have walked on the wrong path because of various temptations. Zichen revealed another truth for Lian Lijue. Lian Lijue sighed, but he also did not understand. This was a huge secret. Why did Lord Zichen tell him? Zichen smiled and did not explain the reason. "I came back this time not only to see you, but also to see the future of this world. I want to see if this place will become better under Mo Yizhen's rule. Of course, if you are willing to go to the spirit realm, you can. Not only you, but all the spirit race members in this world can return to the spirit realm if they want to." The news that Lian Lijue received today was too shocking, so much so that he couldn't recover from it while eating. Fortunately, Lian Qing was there. She continuously toasted Zichen with a few big bowls of wine, showing her heroic spirit. Lian Leek said some things. Some of them were big things for the Lian family, but for Zichen, they were small things that couldn't be any smaller. After eating, Lian Lijue suggested that Lian Qing take Zichen around the city. After all, they left in a hurry and didn't have time to take a good look at the city. It was difficult for Zichen to refuse such kindness, so he could only accept. With a beauty accompanying him, he attracted a lot of attention wherever he went. Lian Lijue shook off the smell of alcohol on his body and walked out of the door. Madame Lian asked, "Where are you going?" "Let's go to Demon Wu Mountain and ask them some questions." Lian Lijue tidied his robe. "Perhaps, this is the last thing I can do for Qing'er." Lian Lijue went to find Demon Wu Mountain in the City Lord's mansion. Demon Wu Mountain personally came out to greet him and seemed very warm. Without beating around the bush, Lian Lijue directly stated his purpose of visit, asking about Zichen. Demon Wu Mountain was a little surprised, but considering the relationship between Zichen and the Lian family, there was nothing to hide. However, his first sentence shocked Lian Lijue. "Zichen is the most powerful saint venerable in the spirit realm." Lian Lijue then told him about Zichen, some of which he saw with his own eyes, some of which he heard from Mo Yizhen. The more Lian Lijue listened, the more shocked he was, and his mood became more and more depressed. After Zichen left, Lian Qing had been in low spirits for a long time. Lian Lijue, as an uncouth man, did not notice anything wrong, but Madame Lian guessed the reason. Then, seeing Lian Qing's condition become worse and worse, Lian Lijue made Lian Qing the head of the family. Then, he went to find Zi Chen, even if it was just a glance. In the end, he returned empty-handed and found that Lian Qing's attitude had changed greatly. He didn't expect to see Zi Chen again after so many years. Most importantly, he saw his daughter's original smiling face again, which was something he hadn't seen for many years. Therefore, he came to Demon Wu Mountain, wanting to know more about Zi Chen from him. However, he didn't know that Zi Chen was such a big figure. Demon Wu Mountain started to talk and talked about Zi Chen. For example, during the battle, Zi Chen's friends who returned were Zi Chen's confidants. Not only were they Saint Venerables, but they were also powerful Saint Venerables. Finally, Demon Wu Mountain talked about the demon realm, saying that Lord Zi Chen hadn't broken through yet. Once he did, it was very likely that he would become the world's #1 demon. That was an existence that could kill Saint Venerables. This news was too shocking and too distant. Lian Lijue finally understood why Zi Chen revealed his secret with Mo Yi. With his identity and status, he didn't care about such things. When he returned, Lian Lijue felt bitter. Although he didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that his daughter's similarity was really too high. People like Zi Chen weren't on the same path as them. At most, they were just passers-by. Just like what Zi Chen said, it was a piece of cake. After returning, Zi Chen and Lian Qing also came back. Lian Qing had a happy smile on her face. Lian Lijue couldn't remember how long it had been since he saw her. He didn't want to say what he wanted to say at first. Next, Zi Chen stayed in Demon City for 3 days. Demon Wu Mountain didn't come to disturb him. During these 3 days, Zi Chen stayed with Lian Qing every day. During this time, he bought her many little things. Before leaving, he left Lian Qing a small portion of diluted demon resources. This resource could help her become a Saint Venerable. When the passage opens, you can go to the Tianwu world to find me. 3 days later, Zi Chen left. Lian Qing escorted Zi Chen all the way to the outskirts of the city. She stood there and stared at Zi Chen's disappearing back for a long time. Lian Lijue and Madame Lian walked behind Lian Qing. Madame Lian looked at her daughter worriedly. If you can't bear to leave, then go. No matter what the result is, father will support you. Lian Lijue said, you don't have to worry about the family. Lian Qing shook her head. During these 3 days, she had chatted with Zi Chen about many things. Zi Chen listened quietly and never got tired of it. Her heart gradually calmed down. She was already very happy to see an old friend again. She thought that she would miss him for the rest of her life. Moreover, she wasn't stupid. She knew the difference between the two of them. Speaking of which, she was already very satisfied that Zi Chen could accompany her for 3 days. After all, he was so outstanding. Mo Yizhan, who was an unattainable existence to them, was so polite in front of Zi Chen. Maybe one day, I will go and find him, but only as a friend. It wasn't that she didn't like him anymore. She just put this love deep in her heart. Chapter 48-48. The people that Mo Yizhan had arranged to be in the various cities of the Devil Realm were all personally selected by him. They were his true subordinates. During the great battle back then, he had nurtured many of his own people, and they had suffered the least casualties. This time, other than all the direct descendants, there were also many who had been arranged to come with Mo Yizhan. Their goal was to obtain contribution points. Mo Yizhan was very clear about this, and did not care about it. However, before this, he had already made it clear that they could take the contribution points, but they definitely could not affect the work of the people he had brought. To be more clear, as long as they lay here and did nothing, the contribution points would continue to flow in. As for my people, they were the ones who had to do the dirty work, including the infamy, they were all ours. You just had to lie down and win. Everyone was naturally happy to see this scene, and they all promised not to cause any trouble for Mo Yizhan. Not to mention anything else, just by relying on a big tree like Zi Chen, Mo Yizhan had an extraordinary status. As Zichen walked through the various cities of the devil race, he saw that the situation of the spirit race had greatly improved. Every day, there would be people who would announce their status as equals. Although many of the devil race were dissatisfied, this did not affect the overall situation. Once there was a dispute between the two sides, there would immediately be experts from the city lord's mansion who would take both sides away. After that, they would ask for the truth and let the spirit race go to punish the devil race. Although this method made many devil race very angry, to the spirit race, it had greatly improved their living environment. However, there were also some devil race who relied on their power and continued to do as they pleased. However, as some people reported, the higher-ups attached great importance to them. The people who came were all Mo Yizhen's personal guards. They did not have any power in the local area, and they only had the power to intimidate a city. Therefore, as long as they were in front of them, they would be dealt with fairly. Occasionally, there would be some that could not be suppressed, and the other party would take the initiative to report it to the higher-ups, and then report it one by one until it reached Mo Yizhen. For these people, Mo Yizhen did not need to personally appear. Mo Di, Mo Yangdanzue, Mo Zhengtian, and the others who relied on connections to enter were all bored and happy to deal with this kind of matter. This was because if things were not handled well, it would be a great merit. Right now, the devil race did not lack anything else, but contribution points. Zichen silently watched the development of the situation. Sometimes, he would play the role of an informant. After visiting several cities in a row, he was completely relieved. After that, he went to find Mo Yizhen. Mo Yizhen was not surprised by Zichen. He put down the things in his hands, and smiled. "You came earlier than I expected. Why? Are you planning to leave so soon?" The spirit realm, Yi Tian Zhenzhen. Zichen sat opposite Mo Yiqing. "Where's Daoist Ling? Is she willing to leave?" Mo Yizhen did not mention this matter, but Zichen had long guessed that the two of them had talked about it. "I'm willing. It's still in the preparation stage. I originally planned to go there myself, but since you're here, it's better for you to go. It'll also let them be completely relieved." Yizhen Yi in the day, Tian Day Day, Yizhen Yi, Chen, Zhen, Yi, 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 Yizhen Yi, Yizhen, Yi, Yi, Yi. Zichen took the jug of wine and said, "If there is any danger, remember to send me a message. I will rush over immediately. With your words, I am even more at ease." Mo Yizhen laughed. "By the way, do you also want to go to the God realm?" Zichen shook his head and said, "No, I have to work hard on my cultivation. However, I will let the others go over there to take a look. Although I am not very familiar with Shen Hao, I feel at ease leaving this matter to him. I know Shen Hao. He has principles, and the power behind him is great. Compared to the other god clans, he is indeed a good choice." The reason why Shen Hao was willing to stay, or rather, urgently wanted to stay in the Saint Spirit realm, was because he thought that the world would change greatly. Not only was the chance of becoming a holy sage very high, but even becoming a demon was no longer an extravagant hope. The two of them did not eat anything with wine. They chatted and drank until late at night. This was also the first time the two of them had a long talk since they met. When the sky brightened, Zichen left the room and went to find Daoist Ling according to Mo Yizhen's instructions. After seeing Zichen, the old blind man finally relaxed, and signaled for everyone to hurry up. Zichen noticed that the young people were very excited, but the old people were in low spirits. Although they had been fighting in this place for years, they had lived in this place for their entire lives. Suddenly going to a strange place, this feeling of being uprooted from their home still made them uncomfortable. In this regard, Zichen did not have any good ideas. Those who were familiar with Zichen in the past were still alive. After hearing that Zichen had come, they came one by one. But he did not know if they had heard something about Zichen from the old blind man, but when they saw Zichen again, they were a little reserved. Zichen told them about the situation in the spirit realm. Although they had been uprooted from their home, life in the spirit realm was definitely better than here. Not to mention other things, just being able to openly search for resources was already a great benefit for everyone. The resources that could not be taken away here could be obtained in the Saint Spirit realm in the future. Moreover, when everyone heard that it was easier to break through and even become a holy venerate there, they were all filled with anticipation for this trip. Of course, Zichen also met the housekeeper holy venerate in the end. If he had not appeared in time to protect Zichen would not be where he was today. As a holy venerate, the housekeeper knew some things about the demon race, but it was not comprehensive. This time, after asking Zichen, he learned that so many things had happened, and for a time, he sighed. They stayed here for another month, waiting for old Blindy to gather all of the spirit race members on his side. Zichen then led them to the entrance of the passage. Along the way, when the demon race saw the spirit race team, they immediately came to inquire, but when they saw Zichen in the lead, they all retreated. Seeing this scene, the nervous crowd finally relaxed. In the end, wherever the group passed, demon race members would continuously appear. They were not here to monitor, but to guard. Along the way, in addition to the demon race army, there were also demon race holy venerates who protected them from afar. When they left their territory, they would all cup their fists at the figure in front of them. Regardless of their standpoint, they were all sincerely respectful to someone like Zichen. When they returned to the Saint Spirit realm through the transportation passage and saw the vast and endless void, all the spirit race members began to cheer. Zichen indicated that they could go alone and find an uninhabited planet to live on. On this point, they just needed the housekeeper holy venerate to agree. Soon, they found a base. It was a world that had just been born, and it was some distance away from the spirit race and the demon race. Chapter 48-49. After returning to the Tianwu world, everything was still as usual. As the world gradually stabilized, Jolene began to deploy external channels. Everything was on the right track. When Zichen returned, he found that the demons were not there. Only Shueshong was there. After Zichen inquired about the reason, he learned that another channel had opened. This time, Miao Miao, Ba Shou, and the others walked out of the channel. When Ji Shan sealed them back then, he did not seal them together. So this time, when the demons opened the channel, they all appeared. Shueshong did not have any clansmen and did not want to join in the fun, so she stayed here. Young master, are you going to cultivate next? The cloak turned into Shueshong, but she was still just a blurry figure. Zichen nodded. The current stability is only on the surface. I want to become stronger as soon as possible. Shueshong said, it's very difficult to become a demon, especially under such circumstances. Zichen knew this, but there was nothing he could do about it. It seemed that he could only speed up his cultivation now. Shueshong changed the topic. But if you want to become stronger, breaking through is not the only way. Zichen looked at Shueshong. You mean, the Black Mountain peaks? At the critical moment that day, Zichen unsealed Kai Yang and gave it its freedom. It was the best decision at that time. Kai Yang later proved that Zichen's choice was right. Shueshong nodded. Yes, young master, you still have 3 Black Mountains. They are the key to improving your strength. With them, you won't be any weaker than a demon. Zichen said hesitantly, I've thought about this, but I don't know what to do. I don't know those masters whose temper is as strong as their strength. I gave Kai Yang its freedom last time because I had no choice. I think the Bone Eagle is good. Shueshong said, although it has a bad temper, it will never go back on its word. It values its promises. Cheong-Chi helped young master last time, which proves that it has no other thoughts. As for Ba Shou, although he's a little poor, he's not that bad. How should he put it? Back then, when Ji Shan sealed everyone, he actually had his considerations. He probably wouldn't seal such a vicious and evil person. Of course, this is not absolute. At the very least, we don't know what is at the very top. Shueshong wasn't speaking for them. Instead, she was thinking for Zichen. Compared to the unreliable demon realm, this was a much faster way to improve his battle prowess. In the entire Tianwu world, Lady Frost was currently the only one who had broken through. Even Chung Ho had yet to break through. How many years had they been stuck in the Saint Venerable realm? Only when one was truly strong would one need not fear anyone. Currently, Zichen's strength was only due to the power of others. Although everyone would still support him as usual, Only by becoming stronger would he be able to achieve his goal. Zichen was also aware of this, but he couldn't make up his mind. Since Xuechang had spoken, Zichen knew what to do. He first gave the bone eagle its freedom. Although he still trusted Qiongqi, the bone eagle's condition was for him to go up there. He had met Xuechang, so it seemed that they had a good relationship. Next, Zichen began to refine the black peak with all his strength. Last time, he had only refined it briefly. As an existence that could suppress powerful demons, the black peak was naturally extraordinary. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In another demon realm, Miao Miao and the others stood in the air. Their people were all prostrating themselves on the ground. Looking at her people, Miao Miao was very satisfied, even though there was no demon among them. If you want to stay here, you can continue to live here. If you want to leave, you can leave with me now. Miao Miao was the first to speak. Before coming here, she had already decided where to arrange for these people. Some of the clansmen were still at a loss, not understanding what was going on. However, some of them immediately walked forward. These people were mostly females. Miao Miao waved her sleeve and put them away. Not everyone was willing to follow Miao Miao, so after everyone made their choice, Miao Miao turned and left. Like Xuechang, the bone eagle didn't have any people. It just watched from afar. This time, it came out with everyone because it was bored. Kai Yang looked at its people and said, "The spirit realm has been completely opened. If you want to set up your own sect, you can go find an uninhabited world. There aren't many things in the spirit realm now, but there are many such worlds. Holy venerables can do it, and so can holy spirits." Compared to Miao Miao, Kai Yang gave the people another choice. For those who had other ideas, this was undoubtedly an excellent opportunity. Since the ancestor said so, he would definitely protect everyone. There weren't many people in Qiongqi's clan, especially those with the direct bloodline, so they didn't have much choice and directly took them away. As for the other bloodlines, they could develop as they wished. The eight-headed demon had the most people, but there weren't many direct bloodlines like him, so he only took a part. It was unknown whether or not they had come to an agreement, but they all brought their clansmen back to Zichen's Tianwu world. With Zichen's repeated breakthroughs, the Tianwu world was large enough to accommodate these demons. Miao Miao was the first to return. She immediately disturbed Zichen, who was refining Black Peak, and asked for a piece of land. Zichen told Jiano, so Jiano set aside a tree city. With a wave of Miao Miao's sleeve, all the fox demons entered the tree city. From now on, this will be your new home. As for what you have to abide by, someone will tell you. After leaving this sentence, Miao Miao didn't care anymore. Not long after, Kai Yang, the eight-headed demon, and Qiongqi returned. Jiano gave 3 more tree cities to everyone. The 2 old men had been paying attention to the development of the matter. It was time for them to go to work, but for some reason, they were still hesitating. They seemed to be waiting for something. The spirit realm was developing comprehensively. During this period, they had to familiarize themselves with the addition of gods, demons, and demons. Among them, the demons were the most powerful. Secret lands opened one after another as the world's rules were completed. The people of the 4 clans entered together to explore. Naturally, there were killings. This kind of killing was within the scope of the agreement. No one else was allowed to interfere. It was completely based on who had the strongest combat power was qualified to obtain resources. During this period, some heroes were born from the 4 clans. Under the situation where the strongest did not move, the younger generation of the 4 clans began to compete with each other. During this period, they were not much weaker than the others. Just as the Saint Spirit realm was gradually stabilizing, another secret land appeared out of thin air. This secret land was Ji Shan's world back then. Finally, with the gradual completion of the world's rules, it appeared again. Chapter 4850. With the arrival of the kings, the entire spiritual realm seemed to be engulfed in a demonic storm. A powerful aura surged. The spiritual realm, which was originally peaceful, was now in chaos. Many people stood in the void and observed the abnormality. A huge gap appeared in the void. From the gap, A world star slowly descended. It was a new world. The moment the world descended, 4 huge figures appeared and guarded the 4 corners of the world. My G, who do you think you are? You still want to seal us after so many years? Angry voices spread throughout the Saint Spirit realm in an instant. Then, a few more huge figures appeared and the 2 sides began a huge battle. No one knew what the result of the battle was. In short, the void was in chaos. Countless blood splattered. It was the blood of the demons. However, no one dared to go near it because the commotion was too big. The unstable void almost sank. It was just a planet, but the commotion it caused was not any smaller than when the demons descended. Even many demons were dumbfounded. They did not know where it came from. When Zichen heard the commotion and rushed there, the world of the planet had already stabilized in the void. The surrounding energy was still in a state of chaos. He wore a cloak and passed through the chaotic energy. He entered the familiar world. This was a different world. However, there was no distinction between the inside and the outside. The entire world was in ruins and filled with a thick smell of blood. Miao Miao stood beside Zichen. She could feel her master's mood getting worse. Mai Ji was gone. The other 3 huge figures had also disappeared. The outer region where Zichen had gone through the trial was now a river of blood. The people that belonged to them were almost all slaughtered. In the original world, the 18 kings and the High King had also disappeared. Only a few ordinary beings were left. However, they still had the strength of a sacred master. Zichen descended and arrived at the Jeddon Kingdom. The Jeddon King was killed by Zichen. The furless fox butler was directing everyone to clean up the aftermath. There were many Jeddon people, but there were no demons. Zichen descended from the sky and gave the butler a shock. He almost squatted on the ground. What happened here? Zichen's voice was cold, and the fox butler couldn't help but tremble. Meeting Zichen's cold gaze, it used a trembling voice to tell him everything that had happened. After Zichen killed King Geduan and left, this area had become an ownerless land. When King Geqing returned, he naturally occupied this place. After conquering this place, King Geqing began to expand outwards. Relying on the weapons left behind by Gushan, he destroyed the area under the tree, flattened the area under the light fragrance, killed Fengling who had once given the devil ape the stone staff, and cleared the river. Back then, those who were related to Zichen in the periphery were all implicated. Even the underground rats were wiped out. The butler fox, who had a grudge with Zichen, did not receive any special treatment. Instead, he was constantly abused, to the point that he became a bald fox. Zichen's eyes were burning with anger. Why aren't you leaving? Zichen asked as he looked at the messy area. This is my home. Where can I go? The fox butler smiled bitterly. They don't want this home anymore, but I still want it. I live here. I'm not going anywhere. All the kings had left. The moment the world descended, they all left. The previous battle should have been stopped by the 4 beasts. As for the specifics, Zichen came late and did not see it. Their auras have almost disappeared. They're either dead or hiding. Miao Miao, who was standing next to Zichen, suddenly exclaimed, "There's one here, but his aura is a little strange. Let's go and take a look." The 2 figures immediately disappeared. When they reappeared, they were outside a castle. A man was sitting on the ground, leaning against the castle and drinking. He looked very sloppy with disheveled hair and a dirty face. Zichen sensed the other party's identity through his aura and said in surprise, "Why are you here?" The sloppy man sitting there drinking was none other than the former King 18. He had a guardian of the laws under him called Shongling. Among the kings, Zichen had a good impression of him because he still cared about Shongling's life. The man looked up at Zichen, and his turbid eyes changed. "Where is Shongling?" Zichen asked. He had released his perception earlier, but he did not find Shongling's aura. There was a touch of pain in the man's eyes, but his tone was very calm. "Dead." "What? Dead?" Zichen's expression changed. "Shongling is a guardian of the laws. How could she be dead? Who could kill her?" Shongling was a guardian of the laws. After Zichen left, she was the only guardian. Who could kill a guardian of the laws of a world? I can't kill one person, but what about a group of people? The former king laughed. It's good that she's dead. She won't have to be tortured if she's dead. Ha ha. That's good. Looking at the strange man, Chen flew into a rage. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed the man's collar. Then why didn't you help? Don't you care? Because of the strong shaking, the man's collar fell apart, revealing the body underneath. Chen could no longer say the rest of his words. Because under the clothes was a skeleton without any flesh. Everything was normal except for the clothes. Chen put down the man, and there was a touch of horror in his eyes. What's going on? You're one of the 18 kings. How can this be? So what if I'm a king? Aren't there still kings in this world? The man threw away the empty wine pot in his hand and said in a daze, right here, right in this castle, I can only watch Linga be humiliated. It's true that I created her, but I've never treated her as a tool. She's like my daughter. I've watched her grow. He seemed to want to cry, but there were no tears left. A king of a generation had fallen to such a state. Chen could vaguely see a scene. His eyes immediately turned cold and murderous intent surged in them. Before Linga died, she was still shouting your name. She wanted me to tell you that she has always been grateful to you. If it wasn't for you, she might have died in the last elimination battle. She was very satisfied to be able to live a little longer than the others. The man looked at Chen and laughed. I know that was their final madness. I also know that this world will eventually break the seal, so I want to live. Chen clenched his fists, and his body trembled. I want to live until now to tell you the truth. I don't have the ability to take revenge. I hope that you can help me, seeing that you and Shong Ling have traveled together. So, please. The smile on the former king's face froze, and his aura dissipated. He was dead. Chapter 48:51. Even if I have to hide to the ends of the world, I will find you and kill you. Chen took one last look at this world before turning around and leaving. His cloak fluttered in the wind. Meow Meow silently followed him. She had never felt such a strong killing intent from her young master. Outside the world, Chen looked at the boundless void. The tracks he left behind earlier had already disappeared. The Saint Spirit realm was very big, infinitely big. How could it be easy to find someone who was deliberately hiding? You can go back. I will go on my own. Energy flashed around Chen. The cloak left his body and turned into Shueshong's appearance. She was worried about Chen's current state. Young master, let Shueshong follow you. Meow Meow knew that Chen was in a bad mood, so she didn't try to dissuade him. In fact, it was unwise to attack now. No need. I can protect myself. Go back and tell them that I have given everyone their freedom. 4 black stone mountains appeared in front of Chen. They were the size of a palm and revolved around his body. At this moment, the 8 heads and the others had all obtained their freedom. They were free to fly in the sky. They were no longer restrained. But the world is so big. How long will young master need to find them? Why don't we go back first and discuss with Kai Yang and the others before acting together? We have many people, so it will be easy to find them. If it really doesn't work, we can ask the other beast clans for help. Meow Meow said, as long as they are still in the Saint Spirit realm, they won't be able to escape. This will alert the enemy. I'm guessing that they've all gone into hiding. Chen gazed into the distance. This will be my last life and death trial. If I die, please take care of my world. When you go back, tell Mengyaro not to come out until she reaches the demon realm. Also, thank you. Chen's figure turned into a ray of light and flew away. It was the opposite direction he came from. Those beast clans should have run in this direction. Meow Meow and Shueshong stared at Chen's back, speechless for a long time. After a while, Shueshong said, should I follow him silently? Meow Meow shook her head. No need. Young master has the protection of the 4 mountains. It shouldn't be a problem to stay alive. Let's go back first to prevent those guys from coming. The huge commotion disappeared, and the Saint Spirit world fell into a peaceful atmosphere again. No one dared to approach that new world, so naturally, no one knew what had happened. The once famous Chen seemed to have gone into seclusion, which made the world less lively. Han Enyu left the Tianwu world according to her agreement with Chen. She went to the immortal realm to investigate the situation. When she entered the god realm, she was wearing a blood-red cloak. Ba Shou knew that he had regained his freedom. At first, he was very unrestrained and even wanted to find Chen to spar. However, Chen still hadn't returned. His unrestrained mood gradually faded, and he actually felt a little depressed. In a very remote world, the master was only an 8-star holy spirit. In the era before the Great Turmoil, this level was very impressive. However, the turmoil had been going on for many years. Even the demons had descended. A mere 8-star holy spirit was nothing. In a restaurant, a bearded man was eating heartily. The other party's table manners were extremely unsightly, causing a huge commotion. Beside him, there were dozens of empty wine jars. He seemed to be a big customer. Not far away, the waiter and the shopkeeper didn't feel happy at all. Instead, they were terrified. After eating, the bearded man wiped his mouth with his hand, looked back at the shopkeeper, and asked, "Do I have to pay?" "No, no, no." The shopkeeper quickly shook his head and gestured with his hands. "At least you know what's good for you." The bearded man laughed. In fact, he wasn't tall. He wasn't even as tall as an ordinary person, but his body was extremely sturdy. Previously, because a waiter reacted too slowly, he was slapped to death. This place is still the best. It's simply heaven. After walking out of the restaurant, the bearded man's eyes swept around as if he was looking for something. This is life. Not only are there delicious food, but there are also beauties. It's 100 times, 1,000 times better than those transformed by those slutty foxes. The other party's eyes suddenly lit up, because he saw a beauty. He laughed loudly and walked forward. It was as if a storm had suddenly appeared on the street. One passerby after another was blown away by the storm. Some of them were cut in half in mid-air. Some of them were lucky and were unharmed in the air, but heavily injured when they landed. The buildings on both sides were shaken and began to collapse, including the restaurant from before. Miserable screams rang out incessantly. With the beautiful woman as the center, the area within 1,000 jong radius was instantly turned into ruins. This 1-star Holy Spirit Realm woman's face was deathly pale. She didn't know what had happened. The bearded man approached and smiled at the woman, revealing sharp and ugly teeth. His 2 hands landed on the woman's body. Following a wave of energy, the woman's decent protective gear immediately shattered. Her body was completely exposed in front of him. The bearded man leaned forward and pressed down. He was about to push the woman to the ground. The woman cried out in fear. Her Holy Spirit chi surged. "Hee, it's useless." The bearded man laughed. He didn't care about the environment. As for the woman's struggle, it was useless. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew. A palm appeared in front of the bearded man's eyes, blocking his vision. Just as his expression changed slightly, the palm landed on his face. Then, a powerful force pushed his body back. With a loud bang, a huge ripple spread out. A deep hole appeared on the ground in front of the woman. The deep hole was filled with cracks. Just as the change occurred, a ray of light fell on the woman's body and turned into a dazzling golden dress. The woman was still in shock. She stared blankly ahead. There stood a man in black. She couldn't see his face, only his tall back. "Who's the busybody? Do you want to die?" A loud shout rang out from the bearded man's mouth, and a violent demonic aura surged out from him. The world began to tremble, as if it would collapse at any time. The man in front of her was also pushed back by the demonic aura. He was only a saint venerable. He couldn't resist the demonic aura. On this planet, all existences that sensed the demonic aura trembled. It was as if they felt the end of the world. The demon stood up and looked at the young man in front of him. He said angrily, "Because you're a busybody, I'm going to destroy this world." The young man replied indifferently, "Since you're here, you have to follow the rules. If you don't, you have to die." The demon smiled disdainfully. You're just a saint, Venerable. Suddenly, a huge black rock appeared in the sky and fell down on the evil demon. The demon roared and punched at the black rock. The black rock trembled and flew into the sky. The young man's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of the demon. He stabbed his sword into the demon's heart. Chapter 48:52. The demonic aura that made the world tremble suddenly disappeared. A warm wind blew past, and the fear in everyone's heart dissipated. The battle was over. The unknown youth withdrew the sword that had pierced the demon's chest. The demon, who was not tall to begin with, stood in front of the youth, his eyes wide open. After pulling the sword out of his body, he slowly knelt down. He probably did not understand how a great demon like him could be killed by a mere sacred venerate. The other existences who saw this scene were also dumbfounded. Who was this youth that they had never seen before? How could he be so powerful? The black stone fell from the sky and was collected by the youth. He looked at the dead demon and said, "Death is not the end for you. It's just the beginning of your punishment." Then he said, "Who has the final say here?" An 8-star sacred spirit quickly appeared and stood 1,000 feet away. He bowed to the youth and said in fear and trepidation, "My lord, I have the final say. Leave the ruins as they are. As for the damage here, use it to make up for it. You handle this matter." The youth waved his hand, and 20 drops of demon blood on the sword flew out. After being refined by the sword, they could no longer be called demon blood. Their grade was greatly reduced. They could barely be compared to the blood of a sacred venerate. However, it was enough to make up for all the damage here. The 8-star sacred spirit put away the blood. "My lord, don't worry. I will complete the task." The woman behind him had yet to recover from her shock. At this moment, the sword shook again, and 2 more drops of blood flew toward her. "Take it and leave quickly. Go as far as you can." At the same time, a voice sounded in her mind. The sacred spirit woman recovered from her shock. After bowing to the youth, she turned into a beam of light and flew away. The youth reached out and grabbed the dead demon's head, bringing him into the air. The aura of the dead demon surged, bringing great pressure to the world. "I am Leng Sho, the spirit's punisher. All the sacred venerates and demons who do not follow the rules of the spirit clan must die." His cold voice spread out, and at the same time, a brand was reflected in the dead demon's body. After doing this, he turned and left, disappearing. He didn't take away any demon bones or demon blood. This world was still shrouded in the demonic aura, and everyone felt immense pressure. But as long as they persevered and adapted to the pressure, this world and everyone in this world would obtain a considerable harvest. Leng Sho was Zichen's pseudonym, Blackstone was the former mountain peak, and the longsword was the flowing saber, but he had used a camouflage technique. Along the way, Zichen had seen similar scenes many times. These mountain fiends did not follow any rules and ran amok. So this time, Zichen did not hide it after killing them. Instead, he used this method to warn them. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The news quickly spread. The attraction of an evil demon's corpse was too great. In just a few days, many saint venerables came to this world. As soon as they approached this world, they knew that the news was true. As the laws of heaven and earth became complete, it became easier to break through to the holy venerate level. As for those ancient holy venerates, their next target was the evil demons. To a saint venerate, the entire body of a evil demon was a treasure. Its bones could be used to refine evil demon-grade weapons, its blood could strengthen the physical body, and its flesh could be refined again. When the saint venerables saw the kneeling evil demon in the air, their eyes burned with passion. However, no one dared to step forward. Following this, more and more saint venerables came. After that 8-star Holy Spirit finished dealing with the matter that Lord Leng Sho gave him, he fled. Last time, Lord Leng Sho gave him more blood. So, to avoid being targeted, it was better for him to leave as soon as possible. As for those saint venerables who came and fought to the death for that corpse, he did not even think about whether he could obtain any benefits through the laws of this world. In a short half a month, many saint venerables from the 4 races gathered here. The first thing they did when they arrived was to ask about the battle that day. When they learned that a Saint Venerate used only one move to kill an evil demon, everyone was shocked. However, they all guessed where this spirit's disciplinarian called Lung Sho came from. In the current world, there was a rumor that only the extremely famous Zi Chen from the Qianwu world could do this. However, this was just a guess. Zi Chen had not defeated an evil demon in public before. The reason why he resolved the spirit race's crisis was because of the fiend race evil demons by his side. Furthermore, that Lord Lung Sho was currently in closed-door cultivation, trying to break through to the evil demon grade. He could not be wandering around. Even more Saint Venerables arrived. However, they did not make a move. Naturally, they were worried that that expert, who was here to intimidate, would suddenly return. About 1 month later, those Saint Venerables could no longer sit still. This was because the evil demons might come after hearing the news. At that time, they would not be able to obtain such good things. On a certain day, the holy venerates all gathered around the ruins that had not been dealt with yet. After everyone appeared, they kept their guard up against each other. However, they still did not make a move. A bunch of cowards. The spoils of war are here. Even if I gave you the guts, you wouldn't dare to take them. A cold laugh rang out. Then, a tyrannical aura appeared. More than 10 people approached from afar. Demonic energy surged around them. Naturally, they were from the fiend race. The man in the lead wore a black robe. When he got close, he glanced at the evil demon kneeling in the sky as if he was repenting. It has been so long. Even if you are repenting, it is enough. If you don't have the guts, then this evil demon's body will belong to my bear race. After saying that, the man leaped forward. He looked like a reckless person. However, when he was about to reach the evil demon, his figure suddenly changed. He was in his true form. His figure was close to 300 meters tall. Compared to his huge body, a mere evil demon skeleton was nothing. He laughed loudly and stretched his bear paw forward. The others watched this scene cautiously. When the bear paw approached and touched the evil demon's body, there was no abnormality. The big bear said with a disdainful expression. Just at this moment, ripples suddenly appeared around the evil demon. Then, a whirlpool appeared out of nowhere and instantly dragged the big bear into it. The big bear let out a startled cry. However, that was all. The evil demon only struggled a few times before it disappeared. Such a scene caused the expressions of the surrounding people to change. They subconsciously retreated. Big brother. Among the crowd, there was a man who looked very similar to the man from before. He shouted and rushed forward as well. Chapter 48:53. Before the palm strike approached the demon, it was blocked by a strange energy and slowly disappeared. When the palm strike landed on the demon's body, it did not hurt or itch, not threatening at all. That holy venerate's expression changed. He gritted his teeth and said, "Since that is the case, then come over here." He exerted force again, and the bear paw turned into a claw, wanting to grab the demon's body from a distance. Just at this moment, the whirlpool that disappeared earlier reappeared, covering the bear's arm. Buzz! A beam of light appeared before the bear, and it decisively cut off its arm. After swallowing the severed arm, the whirlpool disappeared. The other holy venerates' expressions changed again. They secretly rejoiced that they did not act rashly. However, they did not understand why it turned out like this. Was there a protective array around the demon's body? It did not look like it. Was someone hiding it? It did not look like it, either. For a time, no one dared to rush forward. Occasionally, they would look at the rash fiends with some schadenfreude. They had caused quite a commotion when they came. Unexpectedly, they instantly lost 2 holy venerates. The bear race holy venerate who lost his arm paled somewhat. Earlier, it was not as simple as just losing his arm. That devouring force was extremely terrifying, as if it wanted to devour his soul from a distance. "How is it?" a fiend at the side asked. "Something is strange. We cannot get closer. Try to see if we can attack from a distance," the bear race holy venerate who lost his arm said. The other holy venerates started to attack from a distance. Even if they could not take away the demon's body, they could still tear it apart from a distance. This mountain demon that Zi Chen killed with one strike definitely did not expect that he, who was once unparalleled in the world, would end up in such a state. The group of insignificant holy venerates in his eyes wanted to tear his corpse into many pieces. Many attacks whistled forward. They were not just fiends but also some magic skills of the other three races. However, no matter how strong those attacks were, once they reached the demon, they would naturally disappear. "I'll do it." A wolf image sucked at the demon from a distance. This was a kind of innate magic skill, trying to swallow the demon from a distance. However, it was useless. Before the wolf could get close, a shield-like method blocked the attack. Some people were unconvinced and tried to approach the demon's body again. However, as soon as they got close, the vortex appeared again, and they could only cut off their arms to survive. After a quarter of an hour of continuous attacks, no one dared to step forward anymore. All the Saint Venerables stood in the distance and watched with unwillingness in their hearts. The atmosphere became silent. After a while, one of the demons said unwillingly, "There is only one whirlpool. If we go all out, I believe we will succeed." Of course, no one responded, because even if there was only one vortex, there was still a probability problem. No one was willing to sacrifice themselves for the sake of others. What's more, this was just a guess. If there were many vortexes, wouldn't everyone die? Just as they didn't know what to do next, a powerful aura suddenly descended. This was the aura of a demon. When the holy venerates felt this aura, their expressions changed drastically. Then, they all felt frustrated. Clearly, with the arrival of the evil demon, it was impossible for them to lay their hands on this corpse. The evil demon that descended was not tall and looked similar to the one kneeling on the ground. It might be the brother or sister of that person. After the other party descended, the evil demon's power was released and instantly shrouded the planet. Then, a cold voice resounded in the world, "How dare you kill my people? Everyone must die." The evil demon was angry at all the living beings here. "Sir, this is a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." Immediately, a holy venerate said, "We didn't kill them. We were just passing by. Even if you are passing by, you must die." The evil demon's eyes were cold. He slapped down, and the holy venerate who spoke turned into a mist of blood. This was the difference between them. When the other holy venerables saw this, they immediately scattered in fear. The Gushan evil demon walked forward and reached the ruins in just a few steps. He looked at his companion kneeling in the sky and said coldly, "Brother, I will let all the living beings in this world die with you." He flew up and headed toward the dead evil demon. When the holy venerables who scattered in fear saw this, their eyes lit up. If that whirlpool could swallow the evil demon, the crisis would be resolved. At that moment, everyone was looking forward to it. Just as the evil demon approached, the whirlpool really appeared. Many holy venerables almost exclaimed in excitement. However, in the next moment, the Gushan evil demon smashed the whirlpool with a punch and approached his brother. Everyone was in despair again. It was just a spell and not the evil demon's real body. Disappointment filled the holy venerables' hearts. More people wanted to take the opportunity to escape. However, just as they approached the edge of the world, attacks fell from the sky and landed on them. In a short time, there were many casualties. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura came from the front. The evil demon who had just approached was instantly sent flying by a powerful force. At the same time, a huge creature appeared. The evil demon looked like a bug, but its body was more than 10,000 feet. It had a mouth but no legs, and it was releasing the aura of an evil demon. There was actually an evil demon hiding here. Everyone was shocked, and hope reignited in their hearts. "It's you, little thing." The Gushan evil demon who was retreating looked at the huge creature in the sky coldly. "How dare you kill my brother? I will eat you. You half-beast, how dare you look down on me?" The evil demon in the sky looked down at the Gushan evil demon with a tyrannical gaze. It was the evil demon king, who had once indirectly controlled an existence of the holy race. Even in Gushan's era, he was an incredible figure. How could he not be angry when he was looked down on by a mere Gushan evil demon? Of course, it was mainly because he had broken through. If it was when he had met Zi Chen, he might not have dared to speak to an evil demon in such a tone. Die. 2 rays of light shot out from the evil demon king's eyes and went straight for the Gushan evil demon. The Gushan evil demon raised his hand to block. Evil demon energy filled his body, and the rays of light were not blocked. They entered his body. Then, he stood there as if he had lost his mind and did not move at all. The evil demon king in the sky laughed in disdain. He turned around and sucked in the evil demon's corpse. The pure energy that belonged to the evil demon was completely absorbed. You little things dare to snatch something from me. Looking around at the sacred venerables, the evil demon king's expression was disdainful. Then, his body began to shrink until it was the size of a finger. He flew toward the motionless Gushan evil demon below. Everyone was shocked by the ease with which he dealt with a demon-level existence. However, in the next moment, a sharp light appeared and went straight for the evil demon king. This was the second evil demon's aura. Ah! Help! Chapter 48-54. The demon king's cry for help spread far and wide. His voice was shrill and sharp. Those who didn't know would think that he had suffered some kind of serious injury. In fact, the second attack that suddenly appeared didn't hurt him at all. The group of Saint Venerables originally had hope, but with the appearance of the second demon, their hope was shattered. It was another Ge Shan demon. He held a bamboo blade in his hand and descended from the sky. The demon that was controlled earlier also came back to his senses. After knowing what had happened, he immediately became furious. Evil demon, you're courting death. He slapped out his palm in the air, and the palm print filled the world. If the world hadn't been sealed by energy, it might have collapsed. The demon king's body smashed into the ground. A huge crater appeared on the ground, and many buildings collapsed. Fortunately, everyone had escaped. Otherwise, who knew how many people would have been smashed to death by the demon king's smash? The Saint Venerables didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The demon ate half of the palm print just now. It fell because the other half hit its body. The demon king flew up again, but he was still unharmed. He stared at the 2 demons below. Is that all you 2 have? Then I won't fight with you. Seeing this, the 2 demons looked at each other and flew forward at the same time. The demon king quickly retreated and shouted, "Do you know the rules? I already said that I won't fight with you. You have other enemies." Seeing that the 2 existences still didn't stop, the demon king could only shout again, "Lord, save me." The Saint Venerables were speechless. What was going on? Where was the dignity of a demon realm expert? Suddenly, the entire space sank, as if the world had sunk a little. A black dot in the sky quickly descended, heading straight for one of the demons. A whistling sound resounded throughout the world, and a terrifying pressure descended. The 2 immediately abandoned the demon king and attacked the sky at the same time. The falling black light was stopped. It was actually a large black stone. It kept spinning in the sky and could no longer continue to fall. Even with the 2 demons working together, they still felt quite a bit of pressure. Is it that Saint Venerable called Lung Sho? A Saint Venerable muttered in his heart. At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air. Like a stream of light, he charged toward a demon. He held a sword in his hand and his expression was cold. Seeing this, the 2 demons immediately attacked with all their might, wanting to send the black stone flying. At this moment, another black stone fell from the sky, and under the double stacking, the 2 demons fell to the ground. At this moment, a light appeared. A bright sword light appeared in this world. The sword light swept past the bodies of the 2 demons and instantly cut them in half. The sword light disappeared into the horizon. The young Saint Venerable put away his sword and stood there. The 2 black stones flew to his side and revolved around his body. The demonic pressure that shrouded this world disappeared. Everyone was stunned and looked at the Saint Venerable in the sky in disbelief. 2 world-destroying demons were killed just like that. Fortunately, my lord came in time. Otherwise, I would have been in danger. Monster Refining King quickly approached. He transformed into his normal size and stood beside Zi Chen with a fawning expression, flattering him. This made the group of heavenly deities feel dizzy. Was this really a demon? No matter how he looked at it, it looked like a lackey. The corpses of the two demons fell to the ground, and blood flowed out. The eyes of the nearby Saint Venerables flashed. Who wouldn't want such good things? Come out. What's the point of being secretive? Zi Chen, who changed his name to Leng Shuo, looked in a certain direction. Although your realm isn't high, your senses are still quite sharp. A calm voice sounded, and a person walked out from the darkness. I didn't expect to meet such a strange person in this place. Zi Chen looked at the man in front of him. His expression didn't change at all. He said, "Who are you?" even though he had seen him before. This was one of the 18 kings back then, an existence with strong combat strength. Monster Refining King seemed to have sensed the danger. His body expanded again and stood behind Zi Chen. This 18 king smiled and said, "Who I am is not important. What's important is that you wanted to lure me out, so I came out. But speaking of which, you are a bit like an old friend of mine." Zi Chen didn't say anything, and he frowned. "Why? You feel the pressure already? This doesn't seem like the old friend I know. He's more daring than you." The other party smiled faintly and walked forward slowly. Then, a few more rays of light appeared. They were all Gushan people, and they were all demons. There were a total of 5 of them. "Good fellow, we've played big this time," Monster Refining King sighed. His eyes started to look around, as if he was looking for a way to escape. Zi Chen waved his hand, and the 2 dead demons and the blood on the ground all flew towards him. The other Saint Venerables felt melancholy when they saw the demons' opportunity disappear. The king noticed the Saint Venerables' expressions and was amused. "You guys are quite careless. You're still thinking about resources at this time. Shouldn't you be worried about your lives?" Only then did the Saint Venerables realize that the person who came wanted to kill them. "You want to lure us out. I don't care if you want money or fame. Since we've appeared, we naturally have to tell the world that the Gushan race is going to rise." The other party smiled coldly. "The 4 races of the spirit world, right? Sorry, from now on, there will be an extra Gushan race. Or perhaps, at some point in the future, the spirit world will only have Gushan race." It turned out that these demons from another world had divided themselves into the Gushan race. This was quite interesting. Zi Chen was not nervous. Instead, he was secretly delighted. It was just a casual move. He did not expect that he would attract such a big fish. He wanted to kill these Gushan demons, but his real goal was the dozen or so kings, including the last Saint Venerable King. This world was once again sealed by power. However, it was no longer the power of an ordinary demon, but the power of a king. "So, after talking so much nonsense, let's start now?" The king smiled at Zi Chen. "You choose a way to die first." "Bullshit, how can my lord die? I'll kill you first." Monster Refining King's body swelled again, and then he quickly rushed towards one of the Gushan demons. He said the most unyielding words, but the target he chose was the one with the weakest aura. The other party obviously did not fall for it. The moment he attacked, 2 Gushan demons joined hands. Shameless. 2 against 1. What realm are you from? Are you also shameless? With a loud bang, Monster Refining King was sent flying by the combined force of the 2. At this moment, Zi Chen made his move. The 2 black stones whistled as they charged forward. Another 2 Gushan demons walked out and blocked the path of the black stones. Chapter 48-55. Heaven and earth shook as the Hillman demon punched. The entire space was distorted. Even with the suppression of the king's power, cracks still appeared in the surroundings. These cracks quickly healed after they appeared, and the process repeated. As soon as Zi Chen appeared, he saw the punch coming at him. He could only block it with his sword. Bang! As the punch landed, vibrating ripples spread out in all directions, and Zi Chen's body slid backward. The king did not make a move. He stood in the distance and said, "The reason why your methods are so brilliant is that you rely on sharp weapons to catch your opponent off guard. Once you know your methods, you will only be a sacred venerable in a head-on confrontation." There was a confident smile on his face. A mere sacred venerable was not enough for him to join forces with the 5 demons to attack together. The subordinates who came here with him punched with both fists. This time, the attack was even more ferocious, and it was almost completely locked onto Zi Chen. Zi Chen was retreating, but he could not avoid it. Boom! The fist light landed in front of him and sent him flying again. The king shook his head. This was boring. He thought that he could still struggle a few more times. Suddenly, something strange happened. A black dot appeared in the sky, and a third black stone appeared. The black stone's element of surprise was fatal. The king's expression changed, and he wanted to help, but it was too late. The hillman demon was caught off guard. The moment he staggered, Zi Chen came over with his sword and slashed down. Under such a divine weapon, the hillman demon, who could not react at all, was beheaded. Damn it! The king cursed, but his eyes were fixed on the sword. It doesn't seem to be weaker than Ji Qing's sword. My luck is not bad this time. He was ready to make a move because the other party had 3 black stones. It was very disadvantageous for the other hillman demons. However, just as he moved, Zi Chen disappeared in the air. In the next moment, he swung his sword twice and killed the 2 Ji Shan people one after another. The king was slightly stunned. Only then did he see that there were a total of 4 black stones. As a result, only 2 of the subordinates he had brought were left. Fortunately, 2 against 1, the 2 of them obviously had the upper hand. King's face gradually turned gloomy as he ascended step by step. The other creatures in this world were dumbfounded. This was too exciting. A mere holy venerate was killing evil demons as easily as cutting melons and cutting grass. It's that sword. That's an amazing weapon. It's too sharp. It's not just him. Everyone who wields it has such power. A saint sovereign murmured as he looked at the sword in Zi Chen's hand. His eyes were filled with envy. If he had the same weapon, he would be the one standing in the sky and receiving all the attention. King came to stand in front of Zi Chen. Zi Chen summoned 4 black stones and placed them in 4 directions, surrounding the 2 of them. You sure have hidden yourself well. King sneered and unleashed the pressure around him. Zi Chen held his long sword horizontally and blocked the pressure with his murderous aura. Then he said, "It's not convenient to fight here. Let's fight outside." After saying that, the 4 black stones began to spin at high speed, forming an absolute space. The next moment, the 2 of them disappeared from this world. The pressure that belonged to King disappeared once again. The holy venerates were saved once again. However, they were not thinking of escaping immediately. Instead, they looked at the dead evil demons with flickering eyes. You bunch of idiots, you really won't cry until you see the coffin. Do you really have to be killed before you can feel at ease? The voice of Demon Refinement King came from the sky. He, who was originally being chased by the 2 mountain evil demons, suddenly turned around. His body once again expanded by 10 times. Feeling the even more berserk aura, the expressions of the 2 evil demons changed. Then, a terrifying aura attacked. Demon Refinement King opened his mouth and swallowed the 2 mountain evil demons. When the holy venerates saw this scene, their eyes widened. Could it be that this guy was also pretending to be weak? Back then, even Ji Shan couldn't find me. Do you really think I'm made of mud? Demon Refinement King quickly approached and collected the corpses of the evil demons killed by Zi Chen. Along the way, he also killed a few bold holy venerates. He did not care which camp the other party was from. He killed them all. Asterisk 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 in the sky, Zi Chen and King were surrounded by 4 stones. They were in a unique space. A battle of life and death. Zi Chen held the long sword in his hand and looked at the king. He said coldly, "Whoever lives will get out." Do you even need to say that? Of course, this king will live. The king from Ji Shan realm sneered. A huge phantom appeared behind him. It was an eagle. Its eagle eyes were extremely sharp as it stared at Zi Chen. Zi Chen felt a piercing pain in front of his eyes and subconsciously closed them. You think you'll be fine just by closing your eyes? This is this king's innate divine ability. It specializes in attacking the soul. If you have other methods, you might be able to survive. However, if you only rely on these external objects, You will definitely die. A real attack flew out from the eagle eyes. Like two sharp swords, it ignored Zichen's defense and directly entered Zichen's sea of consciousness. The soul attack of the evil demons was truly extraordinary. Blood immediately flowed out of Zichen's 7 orifices, but his closed eyes slowly opened. Tears of blood flowed out. King, who had been calm and confident, was shocked. He cried out involuntarily, "Impossible. You're just a saint, venerable. How can you block my innate divine ability? If it were anyone else, they might not be able to block it." However, Zichen's soul was known as the strongest soul in the world. Even if there was a gap of 1 level between them, he still managed to block the attack. Again, King seemed to sense that Zichen's condition was not right. He attacked again. This time, he used 2 attacks in a row. The giant eagle phantom behind him clearly dimmed. If he attacked too many times like this, the consumption of his soul would be enormous. Zichen's body was on the verge of collapse. More blood flowed out of his 7 orifices, but he still stood. King was shocked. He had to admit that his opponent had a soul as strong as his. He began to look at his opponent. "Your attack is over. It's my turn." Zichen raised his arm and wiped the blood from his eyes. "I have 1 move, and only 1 move. If you don't die, then I will." After saying that, he waved his hand. The stones around him changed and turned into real stone peaks that stood there. Looking at these peaks, King's expression changed. He seemed to have thought of something. Zichen held the sword with both hands. The surging energy in his body poured into the long sword. At this moment, he no longer hid his aura. His power attribute was fully revealed. Golden lightning enveloped the long sword. King's eyes widened in disbelief. Under the full force of Zichen's power, the long sword in his hand changed into a saber. There was a hint of fear in King's eyes. He exclaimed, "Flowing saber, you're Zichen." Buzz. Zichen drew his saber. Chapter 48-56. The mountain chopping technique came from Ji Shan. When he taught him this move, he used a demon-level demon to personally demonstrate it. Zichen had a deep impression of that move and had been studying it. Today, he finally used it. Not only did the 4 mountains seal the space, but they also suppressed the king's energy, making him unable to unleash his true strength. When they were still rocks, they would form a kind of suppression, but it was not strong. Now, as the power of the 4 mountains was fully displayed, the extremely strong pressure made it impossible for the king to unleash his true strength. Therefore, when facing this mountain chopping technique, he naturally could not resist it with his full strength. The blade light swept past the king's body and dissipated behind him. A bloody mark appeared between the king's brows. His eyes were still filled with fear, and his expression was frozen. "You are the first, but you will definitely not be the last." Zichen stared at the king in front of him. "Wait patiently. The other kings will accompany you, including the honorable king." The king's body collapsed with a bang. Zichen removed the black stone peak and stood indifferently in the void. Only then did the holy venerables who had escaped from the world see Zichen's figure. Of course, he was Lung Sha now. He glanced at the ground below, and then his figure went far away. "Sir, wait for me." King Transmute Demon followed, his body becoming smaller and smaller. The holy venerables who had been in danger looked at each other. Where was the demon leader? Did he leave? Or did he die? There was not even a drop of blood in the void, which caused many guesses. But it had to be said that Lung Sha's methods shocked them. Even if only 1 demon died, it was a big deal for the Saint Spirit world. Because demons were the peak combat strength, they were very difficult to kill, let alone several demons being killed together. This newly promoted Lung Sha was being watched by many forces. Many people were very curious about the level of the black stone and long sword, and where did he get them. When the news reached the Tianwu world, Miao Miao was finally relieved. She had been very worried because there had been no news of the young master. Since the young master could kill a king, he should be able to master the 4 mountains. Coupled with the flowing knife, he should be able to survive. Then there was no need for her to do anything. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a deserted world, a bonfire was burning, and the dry branches were crackling. Zichen was roasting meat over a fire. It had been a long time since he had experienced this kind of experimental training. Soon, the aroma of meat filled the air. A ray of light descended from the sky and transformed into a man. He wore a red robe and arrived in front of Zichen. "Sir, we've discovered another Grashman demon nearby." Zichen nodded and gave half of the barbecued meat to the man. The man was the monster transmutation king. As Zichen continued to kill and refine the demonic energy, he had long since advanced. Last time, he had even fought one against two. A complete victory. After eating, Zichen took out a drop of blood. This was the essence blood of a demon. After being refined many times, it was extremely pure. Zichen began to absorb the energy within and used it to temper his body. In order to become an evil demon, the physical body was also extremely important. This could be seen from the demons that Zichen had killed. The bones of each demon could be used to refine weapons, and they were all extraordinary. The monster transmutation king stood at the side and silently protected Zichen. In the past, he might have had some thoughts, but after interacting with Zichen, he dispelled those thoughts. This was because even if he rebelled, he might not be able to gain any benefits. He might even be suppressed. With the 4 mountains and the flowing knife, almost no one could kill Zichen. The most important thing was that Zichen's foundation was too solid. His essence, energy, and soul were all top-notch. If it was a normal Saint Venerable, even with these things, they would be killed. After Zichen finished refining the blood, he started to raise his energy. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to kill that demon. A few hours later, Zichen finished refining the energy and opened his eyes. "Let's go and take a look." The two of them changed their appearances and followed the Grey Hill person. The other party didn't know that they were being watched and went to eat some things. After releasing a powerful aura, no one dared to take money or kill anyone. Afterward, they left this world and went to another world. In the next few days, Zichen and the monster transmutation king followed the other party. He had never revealed his evil demon realm strength, and he was still suppressed. Just as Zichen suspected that the other party was a lone traveler, the other party came to a relatively ordinary world. There were not many people here, and the world was in a dilapidated state. There were very few humans here, and even after many years of war, this place had not been affected. After entering this world, Zichen and the monster transmutation king found traces of other demons, and there was a king among them. This was the second king that he had found. Zichen and the monster transmutation king rushed up, and Zichen used the power of the 4 mountains to chase after those demons. After killing all of the Grey Hill demons, he used the mountain cutting technique to kill the final king. In this world, cries of terror continuously sounded out because the world was on the verge of collapse. Mountains collapsed, and the ground caved in. It was a scene of apocalypse. The monster transmutation king used his magic power to move away all of the living beings. Their realms were too low, and the grade of the world was too low. Even the aura of the demon corpses couldn't withstand it. Zichen found the sealed Mayin in an icy place underground. After seeing Zichen, Mayin was very surprised. She had revealed her huge original body, and there were many wounds on her body. Zichen had already returned to his original appearance, and he went up to remove the seal for Mayin. "Looks like the person they're afraid of is you." After the seal was removed, Mayin's body flashed, and she turned into a young girl in a colorful dress. "Are there any traces of other people?" Zichen asked. Mayin shook her head. "No, after the seal was broken, we were separated." She seemed to want to answer some of Zichen's questions. "They wanted to use me to force my mother to appear, but then they found out that someone specialized in killing demons, and that he was very strong, so they changed their mind and wanted to use my blood to try and change his aura." "Using your blood to change your aura?" Zichen asked, puzzled. "Yes, not only can it change your aura, but it can also change your appearance. It's like you're a completely different person. This is a special ability of our race." The aura of the Mayin who spoke changed again, and she became a complete stranger. "After you left, I relied on this method to survive. My Yin recovered her previous aura. Her injuries were very serious, and she was about to fall in realms. Zichen took out some resources to give her. Then the three of them went together. At the same time, in the Tianwu world, the two elders no longer waited and tried to contact the immortal spell world. Chapter 48-57. Floating weapons and armors appeared above their heads. There was no direct connection to the sky, only a sealed space. The two old men were stunned. This was completely different from what they remembered. Where are they? The black-robed old man was stunned. Even the space isn't fully opened. Where did they come from? The white-robed old man looked up carefully. The heaven's chosen weapons are all here, and there are more than expected. Why hasn't the sky opened yet? Could it be that they're locked up from above? If what they opened was a door, then there were two doors that connected to the immortal spell world. One was controlled by them, and the other came from the immortal spell world. However, from what they knew, it was very difficult to close the door of the immortal spell world. No one had ever closed it before. What happened? Because of Ji Shan, this space had always been sealed. The two weren't the masters here, so they couldn't do anything even if they were anxious. After countless years of waiting, they thought that everything would return to its original path. They didn't expect it to turn out like this. What should we do now? Should we continue? The black-robed old man was very worried. He thought that he was going to start earning contribution points. If someone saw the items in this space, they would be shocked. All the equipment here was of the demon grade, and some were even higher than the average demon grade. Continue. No matter what the result is, let's choose the first person first. The first person was a realm, and also a title. All right. The black-robed old man nodded and sealed this space again. Next, it was time to consider the qualifications. All demons of the spiritual realm, listen up. The first person's test has officially begun. Those who are recognized will receive the heaven's chosen weapon. This voice entered the minds of all the demons. However, many of them didn't know what the heaven's chosen weapon was. As for the first person, many knew. Zichen, who was sitting cross-legged with his back against a large rock, suddenly opened his eyes. My Yin and the monster refinement monarch's expressions shifted at that moment. Their emotions were fluctuating greatly. Heaven's chosen weapon? What's that? My Yin was confused. What? Zichen was even more puzzled by this sudden change of events. I just heard a voice transmission saying that the first person's test has begun. The one who is recognized will receive a heaven's chosen weapon, My Yin said. But what is a heaven's chosen weapon? Zichen looked at the monster refinement king. This was an ancient existence, someone from the same era as Ji Shan. It's a demon-grade weapon. Monster refinement king said in a deep voice, it's also a weapon from the immortal spell realm. A weapon from the immortal spell world? Zichen was slightly taken aback. Do people from the immortal spell world use demonic weapons? I'm not sure about that. In any case, the source of the weapons is indeed the immortal spell world. The monster refinement king glanced at Zichen. My lord, it seems that we have to return. Go back. He hadn't accomplished his goal yet, and he hadn't killed many kings yet. How could he leave now? The test this time is targeted at all demons, including the enemies that my lord has identified. Once they are qualified, all of my lord's advantages will be gone. The monster refinement king's expression was serious. Because none of those heaven's chosen weapons are weaker than the flowing blade. Ji Shan used the flowing blade for many years. Why did he give it up in the end? It's because he obtained a stronger heaven's chosen weapon, so he didn't need the flowing blade anymore. The reason why Purple Chen, a sacred master, could kill demons was because of Shifeng and the flowing saber. If they obtain a heaven's chosen weapon, my lord, you'll only be sending yourself to death. The monster refinement king reminded him. Because heaven's chosen weapon doesn't only include weapons. It also includes defensive armor. Moreover, it's a complete set. With the heaven's chosen armor, you're practically immortal. Without his greatest advantage, Zi Chen was at most a powerful saint. Ma Yin was also looking at Zi Chen. It was unknown what she was thinking. How can I obtain a heaven's chosen weapon? Zi Chen asked. The monster refinement king shook his head. I'm not sure about that. Wait for me for a moment. Zi Chen stood up. His figure disappeared and returned to the Tianwu world. The two old men knew this the best. As long as they were still in the Tianwu world, Zi Chen might know. When he came to the Tianwu world, the two old men were still there. Zi Chen appeared beside the two of them. Why did you suddenly come back? The white-robed old man glanced at Zi Chen. I want to ask, how can I obtain a heaven's chosen weapon? Zi Chen asked as he walked closer. Shouldn't you be worried about the grade of the heaven's chosen weapon the most? The black-robed old man asked with a smile. Zi Chen said, is it really the same grade as the flowing blade? Almost. Some are even higher grade than the flowing blade. The white-robed old man chuckled and said, but this has nothing to do with you. If you can't become a demon, you can't obtain a heaven's chosen weapon. Zi Chen clasped his fists and said, Seniors, can you tell me how to obtain a heaven's chosen weapon? The two old men looked at each other and seemed to be communicating with their eyes. The black-robed old man said, because of some uncertain factors, we are preparing to open up another space. That place involves some secrets of the immortal spell world. The heaven's chosen weapon can only be obtained there. Seeing that Zi Chen was about to say something, the black-robed old man shook his head and said, your combat strength is not weak, but you can't enter that place. The demon is a brand new realm. It is very different from the holy sage. In addition, we have a mission, so we can more or less come into contact with some of the secrets of the immortal spell world. Seeing that Zi Chen was silent, the black-robed old man continued, actually, this is also beneficial for you. Without the demon's interference, you can cultivate in peace. In addition, those secret places will be unimpeded for you. Work hard on your cultivation. Only the demon can compete for the final first place. When Zi Chen left, the white-robed old man smiled mysteriously and said, other than being the symbol of status, the first place also has a unique reward. Zi Chen left the two old men and went to find Miao Miao and the others. Seeing that Zi Chen had returned, they were all very happy. Zi Chen said some simple things and then quickly left. Not long after, the two old men arranged everything. All demons, quickly enter the trial realm. As if there was a special attraction, all the demons in the world were attracted. In an instant, rays of light flew towards the open space. Zi Chen stood in the void. Ma Yin and the Demon King stood on his left and right. Within those rays of light, there were some familiar figures. Zi Chen, I know it's you. If you have the ability, come find me in the trial realm. Chapter 48-58. It wasn't hard to guess how many experts there were in the world. There weren't many Saint Venerables who could kill demons, and those who hated the demons of Gushan realm were even rarer. It wasn't surprising that King Geching could guess Zi Chen's identity. And since he dared to clamor at this time, he naturally didn't fear Zi Chen. King Geching entered the trial realm, and the other demons also turned into rays of light and followed. That trial realm was very attractive to the demons of the world. The Demon King's eyes gradually burned with passion. To be able to become a demon-level existence, every one of them wanted to become even stronger. The Heaven's chosen weapon was a weapon from the immortal spell world. Naturally, they all wanted to get it. Moreover, there was the title of the first person. Some old antiques have entered, the Demon King suddenly said. He sensed a familiar aura. My mother has also entered, Ma Yin suddenly said. And the Honorable King has also entered. Then, familiar and unfamiliar existences all entered the trial realm. Just as the two old men said, in the next world, when the Saint Venerables were looking for opportunities to break through, the demons would all enter the trial realm. Don't miss such an opportunity. You too should go too. Zi Chen looked at Ma Yin and the Demon King. All the demons had entered, so there was no need to keep the two of them. His mother had already entered the trial realm, so Ma Yin naturally had to enter as well. The Demon King turned to look at Zi Chen. When Zi Chen kept him by his side, he didn't suppress him. At that time, he was still very weak. But now, it was different. Zichen waved his hand and said, "Do more good deeds in the future. Often, an unintentional act of kindness will make this world more beautiful." Ma Yin and the Demon King nodded, and Ma Yin entered the trial realm. "Sir, I promise that I will wait for you in the trial realm." The Demon King cupped his fists at Zichen, then flew away. From now on, no one could suppress him anymore. After watching the two leave, Zichen returned to the Tianwu world. Miao Miao and the others hadn't left yet, but they were already prepared. Chung Ho and Hanu were among them. Chung Ho had broken through a while ago. "Everyone, take care." Zichen cupped his fists at everyone, and everyone returned the greeting. Miao Miao said, "Young master, be careful. We will wait for you in the trial realm." Ba Shou originally wanted to say a few strange words, but he gave up in the end. The atmosphere was somewhat unnatural. After that, everyone left. Without these evil demons, the world seemed to have become a lot more deserted. However, the opening of the trial world also motivated many sacred venerables. They began to search for resources and opportunities to break through and become evil demons. The two old men left and didn't return. The entrance to the trial realm was still there, and it was unknown when it would close. Once he missed this opportunity, he didn't know how long he would have to wait. After all, it had been 2 eras since the last time the number 1 person had been chosen. After the demons left, the holy sage of this world became the absolute ruler of this world. Therefore, they had more space. His friends in Zichen's world also left one after another to seek new opportunities. Zichen didn't leave. He still stayed in his world because at his level, he didn't need any opportunities. After killing many evil demons, including 2 kings, he had obtained too many resources. Right now, he only needed to slowly increase his strength and realm. The development of the world was back on the right track and gradually became lively. Through the previous turmoil, everyone could see that Zichen's Tianwu world was a world that wouldn't fall. No matter how serious the trauma was, it would never decline. It would only become more and more prosperous. Asterisk 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 asterisk. A ray of light descended from the sky, ignoring the rules of the world. Luo Chishure landed outside Zichen's residence. He cupped his fists and said, "My lord, Luo Chishure has something to discuss with you." Zichen, who was refining the evil demon's blood, opened his eyes, opened the door, and walked out. "What's the matter?" Luo Chishure had gone out to train with the monk and the others early in the morning. Luo Chishure said, "We found a world with evil demons opportunities. Lord Good and Evil ordered me to come back and deliver the news." Zichen waved his hand and said, "You can explore by yourselves. Don't worry about me." Luo Chishure hesitated and said, "Lord Good and Evil didn't ask you to explore. He asked you to guard there." "Guard?" Zichen was a little puzzled. "That place is extraordinary. Lord Good and Evil wanted to guard that place. During this period, he had several battles with the demon clan. Moreover, the other lords also had the same intention." Luo Chishure's explanation wasn't clear, but Zichen understood the meaning behind it. Zichen's Tianwu world had created many holy venerables because of his breakthrough last time. However, this was not the beginning. If a world wanted to develop, it needed more powerhouses. Now that the evil demons were in power, holy venerables were not enough. If he wanted the Tianwu world to last, he had to create more powerhouses. Just like the Lost World back then, it had brought huge benefits to the Holy Thunder Clan and indirectly created many powerhouses. Now that the Tianwu world had become an independent entity, it needed a similar Lost World to obtain many cultivation resources. This way, there would be more powerhouses joining the Tianwu world in the future. At the same time, it could also create local powerhouses. "Where is it?" Luo Chishure pointed the direction for Zichen. In the next moment, the two of them disappeared. "Everyone, get out of the way." This place was discovered by the Demon Clan. From today onwards, only the Demon Clan can enter. As soon as he arrived at the place, Zichen heard a loud voice. It was a holy venerable bear who had revealed his true form. He stood at the entrance of a space and blocked the people of the 3 clans. In the past, The God clan and the demon clan were also insufferably arrogant. However, after encountering the demon clan, they seemed to be at a disadvantage. Zichen didn't see the monk and the others. According to Luo Chishire, everyone had already entered. After discovering that the place was extraordinary, they let him out. There was no doubt that the monk's plan was the same as the big bear's. He wanted to take this place for himself. However, looking at the current situation, it seemed that he couldn't. He walked forward. Along the way, the expressions of the holy venerables changed when they saw Zichen. There were also some holy venerables of the spirit clan who seemed to have seen their savior. Their expressions became excited. "Get out, or die. I'm talking to you." The big bear roared angrily when it saw that someone was recklessly continuing forward. Zichen looked at the big bear. "Are you serious?" Chapter 48:59. Zichen stood in front of Da Xiong. Looking at the arrogant demon, he frowned slightly. "What? You're not convinced?" Da Xiong looked at Zichen and said disdainfully, "Do you really think you're invincible? Let me tell you, as long as the Devil Clan exists, you'll never be able to dominate. Without those backing you up, you're just a sacred master." Zichen's face gradually turned cold. He swept his gaze around and said, "Since everyone from the 4 clans is here today, let's make an announcement. From now on, all small worlds like this will belong to whoever discovers them. You can resell it to each other, but you can't snatch it. Who do you think you are? How dare you?" Before Da Xiong could finish his words, a powerful aura fell on him, suppressing him until he couldn't breathe. Feeling Zichen's aura, Da Xiong's eyes were filled with fear. "What? Without the demon, you want to bully a sacred master?" After hearing Zichen's name, Da Xiong knew what he was capable of. "Come out, or he'll die." Zichen's voice turned cold. There was a hint of killing intent in his eyes. What a big tone. A mocking laugh was heard. A person appeared out of thin air. The moment he appeared, he was accompanied by the demon's aura. There were demons in this world. Buzz. In the sky, a black peak appeared and pressed down on the evil demon without any explanation. The smile on the demon's face froze. It was as if he was facing a great enemy. Shifeng landed on the demon's head. The demon resisted with all his strength, but his face turned ugly. "Do you understand what I'm saying?" Zichen didn't look at the demon. Instead, he looked at Da Xiong. Da Xiong looked at the demon and was shocked. Zichen really had the strength to fight against the demon. The demon snorted, "So this is what you're capable of? That's all you got?" Zichen sighed in disappointment. "You Devil Clan do have some foundation, but unfortunately, you don't have brains." As soon as he finished speaking, the second mountain fell. The demon's face changed. He seemed to have thought of something and wanted to cry out. Too late. Zichen's voice rang out as a ray of saber light swept past the body of the demon. Shifeng flew back, disappearing from Zichen's side. The demon, which had been alive and kicking just a moment ago, was now split in half, its life force extinguished. "Look, even if he had some brains, you wouldn't have lost a demon." Zichen sheathed his blade and hooked his finger. The dead demon flew to Zichen and disappeared. "I already have a lot of demon resources. I really don't care about one more. I already had the heart to let you go, so why bother?" You. Big Bear looked at Zichen and was too shocked to say a word. "All of you can scram now. Without my permission, you monsters are not allowed to come here again." After saying this, Zichen sat down cross-legged and continued to refine the evil demon blood. Da Xiong and the other saint venerables of the demon race had not expected such a result. At this moment, Da Xiong was looking at Zichen's back, his eyes flashing. Zichen was unprepared. What if he launched a sneak attack? What were his chances of winning? Scram. Zichen's cold voice sounded again. Da Xiong gritted his teeth and did not dare to be presumptuous again. He turned around and left. After he left, the other saint venerables of the demon race also left. If they continued to stay here, they might die. The demon race had suffered a great loss this time. They had thought that with the help of the demons, they would be able to obtain all the resources and intimidate the world. They did not expect things to turn out this way. Not only did they lose a demon for nothing, but they also caused the demon race to lose this place completely. The demon race members were unwilling to leave, but the people of the three races were extremely grateful. When they entered, they all bowed to Zichen. Zichen finished refining the last of the blood and opened his eyes. He made a few seals with his hands and communicated with a part of the rules of heaven and earth. Everyone in the spiritual realm, listen up. The resources of the worlds that are discovered later belong to whoever discovers them. They can be sold to each other, but no fighting is allowed. If any race violates the rules, you can look for me in the Tianwu world. I will uphold justice. Of course, if there are similar worlds, you can also look for the Tianwu world. We will give you a reasonable and fair price. Zichen repeated these words 3 times in a row so that everyone could hear them, including the demon race members. Da Xiong and the others had already left. When they heard these words, they snorted coldly. Obviously, the Tianwu world also represented a faction and participated in the fight for resources. The future of a place like this would be its foundation. It was impossible for Zichen to occupy this place for himself after chasing away the Yarrow clan. He had only stayed here for a month before returning to his own territory. This place was open to the 3 races. He did not have much energy to guard this open place. If the demon race came, he would not have the energy to manage it. After returning, Zichen found Little Fairy. After bargaining with it, Little Fairy left the Tianwu world and began to search for hidden small worlds. It was a true expert in this aspect. Before leaving, Zichen gave Little Fairy the spirit core so that it could travel back and forth quickly. As for Zichen, he continued to cultivate. Every day, he refined energy and strengthened himself. He repeated this process over and over again. 3 months later, Little Fairy returned with the coordinates of a world. He followed the other party and personally made a trip. This was a world space that contained demonic resources. After Zichen appeared, he even found a few demon-level existences. He did not kill them but turned back. Since it was a trial ground, of course there would be some danger. On that day, he mobilized a few holy sages and began to set up the layout of this place. There were many resources in this world, enough for the Tianwu world to mine for many years. Therefore, facilities such as teleportation arrays had to be in place. In this regard, Grace was an expert. After the last war, the entire Grace family did not return to the Holy Thunder clan. Instead, they stayed in the Tianwu world and became a part of the Tianwu world. At the same time, Grace was also in charge of the Tianwu world's external power. Her position was almost no weaker than Zhou Lina's. Luo Chishure returned once again. He brought with him the monk's dissatisfaction because there were indeed a lot of resources in that place. Once he took it for himself, it would be very beneficial to the Tianwu world. Zichen ignored the other party's words and did not even let Luo Chishure return. Instead, he let him stay in the Tianwu world. Su Mengyaro and the others had all gone to explore, so there were almost no suitable people around him. Little Fairy was very efficient. In addition, the Holy Spirit world had just recovered and had a lot of resources. Under the obvious lack of manpower, Zichen had to call everyone back to explore these small worlds with resources. Chapter 4860. When Zichen advanced to become a demon, he did not experience the ancient Holy Venerate stage, because it was not a realm to begin with. This was a title for the ancient Holy Venerate. It often represented a stronger combat power, but it did not include a complete realm. This time, Zichen was able to break through, which was very surprising to him. After advancing to become a demon, Zichen's power was undergoing a fundamental change. Before he could feel the strength of this power, Zichen first felt hungry. It was not that he wanted to eat, but that his body needed energy. He needed a huge amount of energy to fill the hunger that came from his body. Zichen was prepared for this. He took out the demon resources that he had obtained before and began to devour them. Before breaking through, he refined them and strengthened himself little by little. After breaking through, he absorbed them. He absorbed them like crazy. At this moment, Zichen finally understood why no demons appeared in the world when the world was sealed. It was because the energy required to advance was too huge. His physical body, abdomen power, and soul power were all strengthening. The energy between heaven and earth was also gathering toward Zichen. Only the world of the later era could withstand the demon's devouring. Zichen did not suppress his aura, so as the demon's aura spread, the entire Tianwu world was shrouded in the demon's pressure. After a brief moment of shock, the Tianwu world erupted in cheers. The world lord, Zichen, had broken through. This world would truly become a world that would never fall. It would be immortal. The rules between heaven and earth became more active, constantly absorbing energy from the void. Not only was Zichen going to break through, but the Tianwu world was also going to advance. Many gaps appeared in the sky, and endless void energy entered the Tianwu world. After being transformed by the rules, a drizzle of energy fell from the sky. The branches and leaves of the ancient trees closed and no longer covered the sky. This way, all living things in the world could be irrigated by the energy drizzle. The breakthrough lasted for a long time. The drizzle of energy had benefited many people. When everything returned to normal, the purity of the energy in the Tianwu world was obviously much higher than before. This was only a short-term change, and there would be continuous changes in the future. Zichen walked out of the room and arrived outside the Tianwu world. He instantly sensed the location of most of the Saint Spirit world. Although he couldn't sense what was on those planets, each and every one of them was within his perception. At the same time, a suction force came from the direction of the trial realm. This was the suction force for the demons. He wondered what the situation inside was like and how everyone was doing. At this point, the spirit core had completely lost its function, or rather, it was no longer of much use to Zichen. Although his current speed was not as fast as the spirit core's teleportation, it was not too far off. After taking out the flowing breaking blade, Zichen had a different feeling. Its sharpness far exceeded his imagination. Back then, it was a waste for the Lord to hold it in his hands. With a light wave of his hand, the 4 peaks appeared, emanating an oppressive aura. The current 4 peaks were no longer the same as before. Since he had broken through to the next realm, it seemed that he would have to make a trip to the trial realm. Whether it was the Heaven's Chosen Armor or the title of number 1, Zichen wanted to fight for them. However, before that, he needed to make arrangements for everyone and ensure that the Tianwu world could operate normally after he left. Zichen arrived outside a small world, where there were people specially guarding. When they saw Zichen, they immediately cupped their fists and bowed. This was the small world that Su Mengyaro was in charge of. Zichen did not see her here, so he withdrew his aura and entered the small world. This small world had no restrictions on realms. After Zichen appeared, he released his demon perception and found Su Mengyaro in a mountain stream. She had Xue Wu with her, and there were a few lords beside her. She seemed to have discovered something. Whoosh! A light flashed, and Zichen appeared in front of them. Everyone was shocked at first and mobilized their lord's power. When they saw Zichen's appearance, they hurriedly withdrew their aura. "Why are you here?" Su Mengyaro glanced at Zichen and was a little surprised. At the mountain stream, there was an unstable space. It should be the direction they were exploring. The others bowed to Zichen and then left. "You've broken through?" Su Mengyaro asked again. Zichen nodded and went forward to rub Xuewu's head. Then he took out a stone peak and said, "Refine one and use it to deal with dangerous situations. Next, I will give one to the monk and the demon ape. If an uncontrollable situation occurs, the 3 of you should be able to deal with it together." The 3 of them were equivalent to 3 demons working together. In the current Saint Spirit realm, this was an extremely strong battle force. As for the last peak, Zichen wanted to take it to the trial realm. After all, there were many demons there, and he needed something to protect himself. Su Mengyaro did not refuse. She took the black peak and began to refine it. Zichen stood there. After a simple refinement, he left. Next, he went to find the monk and the demon ape and gave them the black peaks. The monk was elated. He knew the effect of Zichen's black peaks and had long wanted one as a foundation. When he took the black peaks, he repeatedly promised that they would protect the Tianwu world well. During this period, he even threatened that if Zichen could give him the 4 peaks, he would be able to conquer half of the Saint Spirit realm when Zichen returned. Zichen ignored the monk's words. This guy seemed to be more aggressive than the other 3 races. Next, Zichen went to other worlds to meet Lin Shui, Wang Xian and the others. Before he left, he gave them some demon resources. Back then, Zichen obtained a lot of demon resources. Even when Zichen broke through, he did not use them all. The last demon resources were given to Zhou Lina by Zichen to develop the Tianwu world. After arranging everything, Zichen released his perception and specifically probed for places where demons might be hiding. After leaving behind the accurate information, Zichen tore through the air and left. He had come to the trial realm. Entering through the entrance, Zichen saw a vast expanse of heaven and earth. This world was filled with rich vitality, but there was very little vegetation. He released his soul power. The area here was large enough, but his soul power was suppressed to a certain extent. There was no one around. The demons that came in previously could not be seen. Just as Zichen was deciding which direction to go, he suddenly felt a unique aura. This aura was unique because Zichen had never felt it before. It was an aura that did not belong to the 4 races. A tall figure appeared in Zichen's vision. This was an unknown tall creature. It looked similar to the demons, but it looked more ferocious, as if it was uncivilized. After seeing Zichen, it immediately flew over. Wherever it passed, there was an ear-piercing sound in the air. It approached and punched out. Bang! Chapter 4861. Hundreds of miles away, Zichen clenched his fists and crossed them to block the attack. Waves of pain came from his arms. His face was filled with shock. He just wanted to feel the power of the enemy, but he did not expect it to be like this. Looking at the tall figure in front of him, his expression changed. The tall figure rushed forward, whistling in the air. Looking at his opponent, who was still punching, Zichen chose to punch as well. Countless bolts of lightning gathered on his fist. The power of this punch was not ordinary. Boom! The moment the 2 fists met, a terrifying shockwave burst out. Zichen and his opponent were both pushed back dozens of feet. After Zichen became an evil demon, his body's strength had greatly increased. Coupled with his extraordinary cultivation method, his combat power was naturally extremely strong. However, it was the first time that he was not suppressed by the tall figure in front of him. Whoosh! The figure of his opponent flashed and appeared in front of Zichen again, chopping down with his palm. In Zichen's eyes, a sharp blade light seemed to appear. The strong light was so bright that he could not open his eyes. Not daring to be careless, he took out the flowing blade. It was still a horizontal block. Clang! Clang! Like real weapons clashing, Zichen was pushed back again. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and he slashed forward. Whoosh! The blade light swept forward, and an afterimage dissipated. Bang! A huge tremor came from the side, and Zichen's body was pushed back again. After landing, Zichen coughed up blood and looked in front of him in fear. This time, he was really shocked. Previously, when he slashed with his blade, his opponent dodged his attack, and then quickly approached him and punched his chest. Zichen had never seen such speed in his entire life. After all, he had mastered the Lightning Clan's extreme speed. He retreated again, and the black figure chased after him. During this time, Zichen slashed twice, but they both missed. He put away his blade, and his expression gradually became solemn. This kind of opponent was too difficult to deal with. In the next moment, he closed his eyes and released his soul power. The flowing blade disappeared beside him. The black shadow quickly closed in on Zichen and struck down. Zichen's eyes were still closed, but above his head, the sky suddenly darkened and black clouds began to fill the air. A terrifying aura filled the surroundings. Black Shadow withdrew his attack and quickly retreated, increasing the distance between him and Zichen. Zichen stood there motionless. The Black Shadow stood in the distance, motionless. Kai! Kai! In the sky, lightning flashed in the black clouds, as if there were snakes of lightning hidden within them. The pressure in the surroundings grew even more terrifying. Shua! The Black Shadow suddenly moved and once again charged towards Zichen. However, before it could get close to Zichen, It quickly dodged. Then, he spun around Zi-Chen, forming a black whirlwind. Zi-Chen stood in the middle of the whirlwind, thunder rolling above his head. Occasionally, lightning snakes would emerge and illuminate the earth. This scene was extremely shocking. Both parties were in a state of anxiety. Finally, at a certain moment, Zi-Chen opened his eyes. The black shadow's figure also paused. Zi-Chen said. A dazzling lightning flashed across the sky and fell to the ground. This was the lightning controlling technique. The moment the lightning fell, the black shadow seized the opportunity and rushed towards Zi-Chen. The flowing blade that disappeared in front of Zi-Chen reappeared. In addition to the dazzling lightning, there was also a blade light in the sky. Puff! Blood splattered. The black shadow escaped. Zi-Chen fell to the ground, with a broken arm beside him. The strange phenomenon in the sky disappeared, and the pressure in the surroundings also dissipated. On Zi-Chen's chest, there was an extremely deep wound. It was made by the other party's finger. His physical defense couldn't block it. Zi-Chen stood up again. He glanced at the black shadow that had already disappeared from his sight and frowned again. This guy was too strange. His combat strength was surprisingly strong. Looking at the wound, it hadn't healed yet. There were still traces of energy entangling it. He bent down and picked up the broken arm on the ground. The remaining aura on it was almost the same as on the wound. You can defeat an extra-legal demon in your first battle. That's impressive. A voice that was either praise or sarcasm rang out. Zi-Chen suddenly turned his head and saw a bone eagle on a large rock not far away. There was no flesh on the eagle, only bones. And the bones weren't complete. Many of them were broken. It's you. Zi-Chen looked at the bone eagle. I didn't expect you to come so soon. The bone eagle landed from the big rock and walked over with its bone wings spread. It didn't transform into human form. What about this wound? Zi-Chen tried several times but couldn't heal the wound. Wait slowly. After a few days, the energy will dissipate and it will recover. The bone eagle said, it's just some injuries. It won't kill you. What's going on? The black shadow just now didn't seem to belong to the 4 tribes. An extra-legal demon is said to be a creature of the immortal spell world. The bone eagle walked up to Zi-Chen and stared at the broken arm in Zi-Chen's hand. Is this good stuff? Zi-Chen couldn't see the other's expression, but he could sense the fluctuations of its aura. It can extract a trace of extra-legal power. The bone eagle turned its head and looked in the direction the black shadow had disappeared. So, I didn't sense your presence before because you had a trace of extra-legal power? Zi-Chen looked at the bone eagle. The bone eagle snorted and walked straight ahead. Zi-Chen put away the broken arm and followed. Where are the others? Follow me. The bone eagle spread its wings and flew in the opposite direction. Zi-Chen released his perception. The bone eagle's aura appeared and disappeared in his perception. Zi-Chen became more and more curious about this world, so he followed. But he found that he couldn't keep up with the bone eagle's speed. The other party seemed to be speeding up, so Zi-Chen could only give chase. The bone eagle was a little depressed. It wanted to trick the little guy and get the broken arm, but it didn't expect the other party to be so alert. This time, they traveled about 100,000 miles. Zi-Chen was surprised at the size of this world. He thought that the 2 old men had randomly found a place for all the demons to fight, and the winner would be qualified. Now it seemed that this wasn't the case. In the end, the bone eagle gradually slowed down. It wasn't thinking about Zi-Chen's feelings, but looking around vigilantly. How did you find it from so far away? Zi-Chen accelerated to catch up with the bone eagle. The bone eagle said angrily, the entrance is in that area. We go there every few days. How do you think I got there? But now that you're here, we don't have to go anymore. Along the way, when wasn't I on edge? Even you can't fight against the extra-legal demon? Hearing Zi-Chen's words, the bone eagle was in a good mood, because Zi-Chen's words clearly placed it in a very high position. It's not easy to deal with. The bone eagle shook its head. What about the 2 elders in black and white robes? Zi-Chen asked again. Those 2 old men turned hostile after coming here, the bone eagle said unhappily. Now, no one knows where they are. It's impossible to get close to them. As they spoke, the bone eagle began to descend. There was a rolling mountain range below. Chapter 4862. Zichen descended from the sky and saw a huge cave. Meow Meow and the others had already sensed his aura and walked to the entrance. Young master, you came earlier than we thought. As Zichen landed, Meow Meow walked up and tidied up Zichen's clothes. Young master, did you encounter the extra-legal demon? Yes, it was indeed difficult to deal with. Zichen's injuries had not recovered. The strands of power were difficult to deal with, but they no longer tried to corrode Zichen. Meow Meow looked at the bone eagle, who stood aside and said, "Don't look at me. When I arrived, the battle was already at its end. It was too late to join forces." Shueshong also came to Zichen's side and seemed to be checking his injuries. The 8 heads snorted. This Zichen was really popular with women. The 8 heads of the 8 heads all had wounds, and there were remnants of power in several places that had not recovered. Kai Yang and Cheong Chi stood on both sides of the cave. Both of them were injured. Han Enyu and Chung Ho were also in this team. Han Enyu's aura was very weak, and Chung Ho's face was bruised and swollen. He was the most miserable of them all. It seemed that he could only walk normally, and everything else was a problem. Compared to the others, Zichen's condition was considered good. How could this be? Zichen's eyes were filled with surprise. These people were a group of peak existences in the spiritual realm. They had been here for so long, and they should not be like this. Even the demon race's rebellion in the spirit realm wasn't like this. Our condition is already very good. You were lucky to meet the bone eagle. If he had arrived a little later, you might have died. The 8 heads snorted and said, a large number of demons that came back then died on the day they arrived. The extra-legal demon must have retreated because it sensed the aura of the bone eagle. The bone eagle shook its head and said, when I arrived, the battle was already over. Zichen cut off an arm of the extra-legal demon. What? The 8 heads could not believe it. He cut off an arm of the extra-legal demon as soon as he arrived. Zichen took out the severed arm. You mean this? That's impossible. The 8th head still couldn't believe it, and the others were shocked as well. Meow Meow's eyes lit up as she said, young master, you should first condense the extra-legal energy and see what effect it has. In fact, everyone was still curious about how Zichen did it. After all, the extra-legal demons were extraordinarily powerful. It was as if they were born to restrain them. Therefore, when they fought, they were suppressed in every way. This cave was where everyone was currently living. The cave was very large and there was only one entrance. Every night, there would be someone keeping watch. After the 2 old men came in, no one saw them again. As for the Heaven's chosen weapon, there was no news. You want to leave? That was impossible. Because there was no exit. Zichen was very surprised to hear the truth from Meow Meow. According to his understanding of the 2 elders, they should not be like this. However, the most important thing now was to condense the energy of the severed arm. Compared to the layout of this place, they were more interested in knowing how Zichen cut off the arm of the extraterrestrial demon. When they first came in, the scene was too tragic. Even they, who were experienced and knowledgeable, were shocked. Even when Ji Shan became the #1 person, they had not seen such a horrible massacre. Demons died in droves. My illusion is almost useless against the extra-legal demons. When I first came here, I suffered a great loss and almost died. Everyone was injured at the moment, and the bone eagle was now missing a few bones. Although the 2 old men did not appear again, we guessed that this should be a corner of the immortal spell world based on the extra-legal demons we encountered. If you can't survive here, it should be impossible to survive in the immortal spell world. Just as Zichen was condensing the severed arm, Meow Meow told him some things about this place. Some were what she saw with her own eyes, and some were just guesses. Zichen listened quietly, not delaying the work at hand. Here, we all attacked together. During this time, we killed 2 extra-legal demons and refined all the energy we obtained. Those extra-legal demons have different appearances and auras. They each have their own means. Some are good at long-range attacks, some are good at close combat, and some have endless spells. They are very difficult to deal with. The severed arm in front of Zi Chen dissipated, leaving only some pure energy. This was energy that did not belong to the 4 tribes. It was a kind of dark energy, but it was clearly different from devil chi. This was extra-legal energy. Young master, try to refine it. Miao Miao came in front of Zi Chen. With a thought, this energy entered Zi Chen's body. It was like a living flame entering his body. In an instant, Zi Chen's face turned red. The energy in his body seemed to be about to go out of control and spread all over his body. A vibrating aura surged out. Everyone was already used to this scene and no one purposely reminded Zi Chen at this moment. Only when one was caught off guard could one sense the difference in extra-legal energy. The vibrating energy lasted for 10 breaths, and then gradually calmed down. Everyone looked at each other and saw a hint of surprise in each other's eyes. When they refined extra-legal energy for the first time, it was not so easy. After a while, Zi Chen opened his eyes and said, "It's a very strange energy. How should I say, it should be a higher level of energy." Miao Miao and the others nodded. Extra-legal energy was indeed the highest level of energy, and its quality surpassed all the energy in the spiritual realm. If life was classified by energy, then extra-legal demons were much more noble than the 4 tribes. At this moment, Zi Chen had not completely refined that little bit of energy. He had only temporarily suppressed it. At this moment, the energy in his body was like a giant beast, devouring the extra-legal energy bit by bit. The devouring process was not fast, and could even be said to be slow. At present, we haven't thought of a good way. We can only refine the power of extra-legal demons bit by bit. Perhaps when we refine enough, our bodies will change. At that time, we may be able to fight against extra-legal demons. Miao Miao said, "Of course, it may work if we have a heaven's chosen weapon. But the 2 old men have not shown up yet, and no one knows how to get a heaven's chosen weapon. Then let's wait." Zi Chen closed his eyes and prepared to continue refining the remaining energy. At this moment, he sensed a powerful aura in the outside world. "There's an extra-legal demon." The voice of the 8 heads sounded from outside. Miao Miao and the others quickly rushed out. Boom! The cave was shrouded by a huge force and collapsed in an instant. Smoke and dust accompanied by powerful energy raged. Zi Chen ran out in time and saw an extra-legal demon. There was only one. "I was worried about not having a target recently. Since you took the initiative to come, then die." The eyes of the 8 heads flashed coldly, and his real body appeared. Miao Miao and the others spread out and formed a circle. In this place, it was not shameful to join forces to deal with an extra-legal demon. Chapter 4863. In front of them, extra-legal demons appeared one after another, corresponding to everyone present. It was impossible to tell which was the real body and which was the doppelganger. All of them looked the same, and so did their auras. The expressions of Zi Chen and the others changed. "Is this a doppelganger technique?" "Another new technique," the 8-headed demon said angrily. "Damn it, I thought a fool would come and seek death." Kai Yang said in a low voice, "Let's test the power of the doppelganger first." Kai Yang rushed forward and launched an attack. Flames lit up in his palm, and the surrounding temperature suddenly rose. The fist shadow turned into a ferocious fire beast. The black figure in front did not do anything else, and just watched Kai Yang approach calmly. Just as Kai Yang was guessing whether the doppelganger had no combat power, a black flame suddenly lit up. The other party took a hit from Kai Yang, and at the same time, struck at Kai Yang's chest. Kai Yang, who was already on guard, blocked with his hand. A strong aura shook, and he retreated. Just as Kai Yang retreated, Cheung Chi also retreated. The 2 had attacked at almost the same time, and their attacks were blocked. Even if it's not the real body, it's not weaker than the real body. When Miao Miao saw all of this, her expression gradually became solemn. "What should we do?" The 8-headed demon looked around. This guy was even more difficult to deal with. Whoosh! The black figure suddenly disappeared, as if teleporting, and appeared behind everyone. Just as everyone turned around and was on guard against them, black flames once again appeared on the bodies of these black figures. The surrounding space distorted, and the black flames began to burn, forming a ring of fire. Formation? And it's a formation of one person? Zichen was slightly taken aback, and felt very surprised. He had seen a new technique again. The others' expressions became serious. Zichen closed his eyes, and the black clouds in the sky began to surge. This was the art of lightning manipulation. Even now, this kind of lightning technique from the early days could still be used. Lightning snakes swam in the black clouds, and pressure swept in all directions. In Zichen's perception, the extra-legal demons below had the same aura, but they were all real, and there was no difference between doppelganger and the real body. However, for the art of lightning manipulation, there was no difference between one and a group of them. As long as it was within the range of his will, his attack could reach it. The black flames were still burning, as if they were about to form a space of flames, or perhaps a domain of flames. Above his head, the black clouds began to descend slowly, bringing with them an extremely terrifying pressure. The lightning in the black clouds became even more violent. The rolling thunder was deafening. At this moment, Zichen opened his eyes. In an instant, thunder rumbled and the dark world was illuminated by a strong light. There were 9 bolts of lightning descending from the sky. Each thunderbolt corresponded to an extra-legal demon. Just as the lightning struck, the 8 people beside Zichen moved. He used all sorts of powerful techniques to try and kill the other party. A demonic storm instantly formed. 8 of them disappeared, and only one flew into the distance, disappearing in the blink of an eye. It was his real body. The thunder might in the sky was still there, and Zichen wasn't sure if it would return. Since he dared to provoke them alone, he obviously had real ability. After understanding some of the habits of the extra-legal demon, the others secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Zichen was here this time. Otherwise, based on their current situation, even if they didn't get wiped out, there would be many casualties. Everyone also finally knew how Zichen defeated an extra-legal demon before. Withdrawing the thunder might, the black clouds in the sky dispersed. Zichen asked, "What's going on here?" No one could explain, because it was the first time they had seen such an extra-legal demon. The cave was destroyed, and this place was no longer habitable. They could only find another place to live. Zichen took out a building that he had refined before. After landing, it turned into a multi-story house, and everyone moved in. Scarlet Ape reminded Zichen to be careful, because the extra-legal demons here would take the initiative to attack. They had already lost many such buildings when they came here, and finally had to find a cave. And if they wanted an undamaged place to live, it would have to be a demon-level one. Back in the building, everyone sat in the comfortable hall and fell silent for a moment. Besides Chung Ho, Hanu, and Zichen, the others were more ancient existences, so they all saw something. Because of this, everyone was silent. After a long time, B.A. Shou said, "So, these extra-legal demons are comparable to the 5 spirits." Back then, Ji Shan used the 5 spirits to seal the entire demon race. After that, the demon race wanted to return, and each of the 5 spirits consumed a demon, then fell into a deep sleep. They had never thought of this before, until they saw Zichen use the thunder manipulation technique. They were very familiar with this technique, so they had this guess. It was meaningless to just guess how powerful the extra-legal demons were. Now, everyone was thinking about how to survive. "Young master, do you have any good suggestions?" Miao Miao looked at Zichen. Zichen shook his head. He had just arrived and was unfamiliar with everything, so he couldn't give any good suggestions. He thought for a moment and said, "Then let's fight together. There might not be many extra-legal demons like before. The most important thing now is for everyone to recover from their injuries and maintain their strongest state." Zichen spent 2 days to refine that strand of energy, and his previous injuries were also healed. The others recovered slightly faster than Zichen, but their injuries were more serious, so they hadn't fully recovered. In these few days, no extra-legal demons came, and no one took the initiative to attack. Just as the Bone Eagle said, since Zichen was here, they didn't go to the entrance. Another 2 days passed, and everyone's injuries were basically healed. It was time to go out and hunt. The 9 of them all moved out, and Zichen put away the building. During this time, everyone released their soul power to search for the extra-legal demons that might exist in the range of their soul power. As for Zichen, he walked at the front alone. Because Zichen didn't have too much extra-legal demon aura on him, he was a good target. Zichen was walking on the Gobi Desert when there was a sudden movement in the ground. A torrent of sand rushed out from the ground. Zichen's expression changed slightly, and he immediately rushed into the sky. There were sounds of explosions all around, and many torrents rushed into the sky, surrounding Zichen. Zichen's streambreaker appeared in his hand, and he quickly slashed horizontally, cutting all the torrents in half. Whoosh! There was an ear-piercing sound, and an extra-legal demon with a yellow spear had already arrived in front of Zichen. The flowing broken saber blocked with a clanging sound. Zichen retreated once again. Above his head, everyone flew over and surrounded the extra-legal demon. Other than Miao Miao, the Ba Shou and the others all revealed their true forms, but their true forms were much smaller than when they were in the outside world. We must kill him. We must not let him escape. The Ba Shou shouted. Puff. Chapter 4864. The only thing they were worried about was that the otherworldly demon would escape. Such a team could be said to have the strongest combat strength in the Saint Spirit domain. They did not expect the otherworldly demon to take the initiative to attack. The unexpected attack caused the 8 heads to lose one of his heads. The 8 heads, who had recovered all his strength, had all 8 heads. Now that he had lost one, although it would not kill him, he would lose some of his combat strength. He was very angry. Be careful, he can use the power of the earth. Miao Miao reminded. She stood at the outermost circle and did not reveal her true form. She was ready to act at any time. So what if it's the power of the earth? I can also use the demonic power of heaven and earth. The 8 heads was extremely angry. 7 of his heads opened their mouths and spat at the otherworldly demon. 7 different types of energy surged out, forming various attacks. The otherworldly demon formed an energy shield around himself. These incoming attacks could not advance an inch. Scarlet Swallow flashed forward and punched at the other party's shield. He did not have a weapon because the demonic race had always believed that the body was the greatest weapon. Of course, it was also because he did not have a suitable weapon. Boom! The otherworldly demon's shield was broken by a punch. The other party held a spear and stabbed at Scarlet Swallow's chest. The Bone Eagle attacked from the side, its sharp claws grabbing at the other party's head. On the other side, Cheung Chi and the Bone Eagle formed a pincer attack. Chung Ho pointed forward. A ray of light appeared from his fingertip, like a real sword Chi, and attacked the back of the otherworldly demon. In terms of physical strength, he and Lady Han were the weakest in the group. They were responsible for long-range attacks. The aura of ice surged, and countless ice blades whizzed out. Except for Zichen and Miao Miao, the others attacked at the first moment. With everyone working together, they blocked all the paths of the otherworldly demon. The other party retracted the spear that was attacking Scarlet Swallow and swept it toward the sky, blocking the Bone Eagle's attack and forcing Cheung Chi back. The shield that had disappeared earlier reappeared, blocking the attacks of Chung Ho and Lady Han. He resisted the energy and dispersed the attacks, flying toward the sky. He was trying to escape. Miao Miao moved. A ray of soul light like lightning entered the otherworldly demon's sea of consciousness. She was good at soul techniques. With a groan, Miao 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 flew backward with blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. However, her attack was not in vain. The escaping speed of the extra-legal demon was obviously slowed down. Wang. Zichen struck. The flowing saber carried an unparalleled saber will as it slashed towards the extra-legal demon. The spear in the other party's hand blocked horizontally. The spear broke in the middle and dissipated into energy. With the help of the spear, he had already reached the sky. At this moment, no one could stop him. Just as the other party was about to leave, the sky suddenly darkened. A real mountain covered the sky and fell from above, suppressing the extra-legal demon once again. Die. The cold voice sounded again as Zichen drew his blade for the second time. This time, Zichen attacked with all his might. The glaring light of his blade swept towards his opponent's body. Mountain chopping technique. Just as he was about to cut the opponent in half, a layer of armor suddenly appeared around the opponent. Kai. The saber light swept past him, shattering his armor. Blood rained down from the sky as the extra-legal demon turned into a beam of light and disappeared into the distance. He had actually blocked this attack. You can't leave. Zichen's expression didn't change as he watched the fleeing man. He seemed to have expected this. A thunderous sword light streaked across the sky and followed closely behind, piercing through the extra-legal demon's head. After flying for nearly 1,000 feet, the extra-legal demon crashed to the ground with a loud boom. The battle was over. In a short period of time, Zichen had used all his killing moves and joined forces with the others to kill an extra-legal demon. The other party was not only strong in combat but also in escaping. Kai Yang rushed forward, but still carefully attacked twice. When he found that the other party was motionless, he brought the corpse back. They had carried out similar attacks many times, but the success rate was less than 50%. Moreover, it was the kind that took a long time and caused great losses on both sides. This time, with Zichen around, it was much easier. What about the other mountains? Qiongqi walked over and asked curiously, why didn't you use them together? Zichen scratched his head, feeling a little embarrassed. Before coming here, he didn't know what was going on here. He had absolute confidence in his combat strength, so he only brought one mountain with him. If the 4 mountains were here, Zichen was confident that he could kill an extra-legal demon alone with their suppressive methods. After Zichen explained the situation, everyone couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. A complete extra-legal demon's energy is enough for us to condense for a long time. Moreover, with the addition of young master, our future gains will only be greater. Miao Miao stepped forward and said with a smile, so, don't worry about it. Everyone nodded. To them, this was indeed a historical moment. And all of this was because of Zichen. After returning to his residence, the others were breaking down the energy, while Zichen was thinking about the previous battle. An extra-legal demon could attack and retreat. If not for the thunderous sword, the other party might have really escaped. The thunderous sword could kill the enemy because of the previous mountain-cleaving technique, which caused the other party to suffer heavy injuries, especially the second slash. Previously in the Saint Spirit domain, Zichen's flowing blade had a suppressive effect on all the demons. Together with the 4 mountains, they couldn't escape at all and could only fight to the death with the flowing blade. But it was different here. The suppressive effect of the flowing blade was greatly reduced, and the other party could break free at any time. The battle effect was naturally much weaker. But from the looks of it, there seemed to be no other way. They could only first refine the energy and make everyone stronger. Miao Miao, who had deliberately made a noise, came in front of Zichen. Zichen turned to look at her and was a little surprised. Miao Miao sat down but didn't say anything. Is there a problem? Zichen asked. Miao Miao said, we discussed it and suggested that young master doesn't condense the extra-legal energy for the time being. Zichen didn't say anything because Miao Miao hadn't finished speaking. As we refined the energy, we realized that the extra-legal demon was becoming more and more cautious. For example, the previous sneak attack was the first time. But we guessed that it was because of young master. Miao Miao continued, after that, we went out to hunt and confirmed our guess. Zichen nodded and said, so you mean that as long as I don't refine the extra-legal energy, the extra-legal demon will take the initiative to find me? I'm the bait. That should be the case. Miao Miao nodded, a little embarrassed. But it's not that young master doesn't refine it at all. Young master can try to use the energy to refine weapons. Perhaps it can make them stronger. Oh! Zichen's eyes lit up slightly. It can be done like that. Miao Miao isn't sure about the specifics. We can only wait for young master to try it later. After everyone had condensed the energy, they gave it to Zichen. During this time, no one refined it.